big. Do you plan on having a league that's in soccer stadiums, or do you feel like you're born more in MetLife?
Well, we've got, a variety of buildings around our league. You got 3 NFL stadiums in Seattle and New York, and down in Tampa, Raymond James, and those are all big venues. We'll just open up the lower bowl, but I think we'll do well in terms of getting that lower bowl filled up. Then you've got a couple of smaller buildings, so people will see the game. DC hosting Seattle, that's in Audi Field, which seats about 20,000. It's the MLS building there. In Houston, we're in a college football stadium, University of Houston. It's relatively small, about 39,000.
Perfect.
The most interesting venue, though, is the Dallas team is playing in Globe Life Park. It's the former home of the Texas Rangers. They moved out after last year's baseball season, and that's a really cool building because they've sort of renovated it to fit football.
Best of luck this weekend. We'll all be watching XFL. Football is back.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to doctors online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. And a pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/joy.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in for Financial Safari with America's wealth coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k.
Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday afternoon at 2 on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDAWN. A Home for Spot Animal Rescue says don't shop, adopt. Bring the whole family, along with any dogs you might already have, to their weekly adoption events at PetSmart, 2140 North Rainbow in Lake Mead, Saturdays from 10 to 3 and Sundays from noon to 4. You can find your new furry friend who's looking for their forever home. Also go to ahomeforspot.com for pictures and descriptions of all the latest dogs looking for a new friend. For more information, go to ahomeforspot.com. That's spot.com.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station. It's news time on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Good morning, I'm John Schaefer. A man driving a truck for several miles in the wrong direction on the 95 Thursday night was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence by the Nevada Highway Patrol. The driver was heading north in the southbound lanes of the 95 from Casino Center to Jones before he was stopped. Boeing has to address a new software issue on its grounded 737 MAX jets.
Speaking with reporters in London Thursday, Stephen Dixon, the head of the Federal Aviation Administration, said Boeing's discovered a light that warns pilots about a system used to make the 737 MAX jets point up or down isn't working properly. A Boeing spokesman said a change is being made to the software. He added the new issue is not expected to change plans for the MAX jets to return to service around mid-year. All 737 MAX jets have been grounded worldwide since March 2019 after crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia killed 346 people. I'm Mike Gracia.
The Vegas Golden Knights have purchased an American Hockey League franchise membership from Spurs Sports and Entertainment. They currently operate the San Antonio Rampage in San Antonio, Texas. The Knights are applying for relocation of the franchise to Henderson, Las Vegas. The purchase and relocation is subject to approval from the American Hockey League Board of Governors. Pending AHL Board of Governors approval, the Rampage would continue to play in San Antonio through the end of this season, then move here for the 2020-2021 season. And the Golden Knights beat down the Florida Panthers last night 7-2. With a check on our weather, here's News 3's Kelly Curran.
Hi there and happy Friday. It is going to be a beautiful day today. We're looking at lots of sunshine around the area. Temperatures today topping out in the mid and upper 60s in the afternoon. Keep listening for more updates throughout the day from News 3, your weather authority.
Sunny and 52 in Las Vegas. I'm John Schaefer on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDON, Las Vegas only FM news talk station. With a look at the roads, here's John Michaels.
From the Lerner Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Account Temps. The crash Flamingo west of Valley View Boulevard still a factor. Watch for slowing in the area. I-15 recovering from the rush hour and almost done. Still some light slowing though between Charleston and Spring Mountain. 95 in the East Valley. Again, a nice recovery underway. Light slowing remains between Charleston and the Spaghetti Bowl. And on the 215 Southern Beltway in the East Valley. Westbound slowing from 95 over to Green Valley Parkway. Demand for top talents at an all-time high. Keep your projects moving with highly skilled accounting and finance professionals from Account Temps. Account Temps, a Robert Half company. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their New Year sale.
I'm Jim Snyder.
And I'm Marie Mortera. We want to thank you for making News 3 your #1 choice for news.
Every weeknight at 11, you can count on us to have the big story of the day.
Plus breaking news that matters to you.
Jim Snyder and Marie Mortera. News 3 live at 11.
You don't always know you're making history when you're living it. But if you're a business owner, you can help shape Southern Nevada's water future by conserving today. Replacing useless grass with water-smart landscaping and investing in water-saving technology has never been easier. Big rebates are available at snwa.com. Do your part to conserve. Be a founder of our future. SNWA is a not-for-profit water agency.
There's a reason certified pre-owned Land Rovers enjoy such an outstanding reputation. They were once new Land Rovers. With 100,000-mile and up to 7 years coverage, certified pre-owned Land Rovers still have plenty of life left in the tank. They're like new in every respect and waiting to take you on your next adventure. Come find your certified pre-owned vehicle today at Jaguar Land Rover Las Vegas at our new location, 6425 Roy Horn Way on the south side of the 215, just west of Jones.
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust. Call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
Oh yeah, what's up, Vegas? It is the Vegas Take. Happy Friday. Oh yeah, we got a lot to get to today. A lot to get to, a lot to go over. And, you know, so many different areas that we could start. We're going to certainly start with the Mit Romney Backlash. We'll get to that in just a few minutes here. But this is going to be a lot of fun. Our friend of the show, Congressman, he's also a war hero. Seth Moulton is going to be joining us coming up at the bottom of the hour. The reason why we wanted him on today is because he was one of the few Democrats that walked out right in the middle of the State of the Union address. So he's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to ask him why. What is it that triggered him to leave? Why did he even show up in the first place? We'll talk to Seth Moulton, again, coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Listen, if you're a Rush Limbaugh fan, you're going to love hour number 2. Trust me. We're going to play a game called Rush Jeopardy. It's a quiz, so to speak, of Rush Limbaugh. and we're going to be playing that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, if you're a Rush Limbaugh fan, you will love it. So you'll want to stay tuned for that coming up in hour number 2. Trust me, hour number 3 is going to be just as interesting because we have a woman in studio by the name of Roxanne Price. She works at Sherry's Ranch. It's one of those bunny ranches. I believe this one is in Pahrump. And we did a story yesterday about how these sex dolls are hurting the sex industry as far as these ranches go, these chicken ranches. And Roxanne Price is one of those people that's going to tell us that she is actually losing money and she is losing clients and customers because of these sex dolls. It is interesting, fascinating, and I think our producer is one of those people that's taking business. These dolls are taking business away from Roxanne. So we'll be joined by her coming up in hour number 3. Chris Bryant, of course, he is one of the best hitters in all of baseball, and he grew up right here in Las Vegas. He actually had a batting practice yesterday at the ballpark. And Chris Bryant was asked about this cheating scandal, and his comments were very interesting. They made some headlines, so we'll go over that, talk about that. Of course, we're talking about the Houston Astros stealing signs and knowing what pitches were coming, that sort of deal. So we'll talk about that coming up in hour number 3. I want to start with the Mitt Romney backlash. Let me start from square here, okay? I voted for Mitt Romney. And the reason why I supported Mitt Romney is because I think he's a decent man. And when I talk to about voting, you know, I vote maybe differently than a lot of other people. I vote based on, number one, is this guy a good dude? And I thought there were 2 good men that were running for president back then. 2 good people in Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. I really did. And I look at Mitt Romney, and I do believe he's a man of faith. I'm not an extremely religious man. Mitt Romney is a very religious guy as a Mormon, and you know, I certainly don't agree with some of his stances on certain issues. I certainly don't agree politically with him on a lot of different subjects. But, you know, Mitt Romney has flip-flopped in the past. But, you know, name me a politician that hasn't flip-flopped. I can name you a gazillion of them. He's changed his mind from time to time, and he has a right to change his mind. But one thing I will say about Mitt Romney is I think he's a decent man. I think he's a good guy. I don't think Mitt Romney is a bad guy. And he had to know the consequences if he voted Donald Trump guilty the other day. He had to know what those consequences were. And he's been asked about it, and he said he expects unimaginable consequences after this impeachment vote. And he's right. So why do you think Mitt Romney did this? Certainly, it didn't gain him political points, that's for sure. So why do you think he did it? Well, I can only come to one conclusion. Because he thought it was the right thing to do. I'm only going to go by what he said. He thought it was the right thing to do. He could look at his kids and his grandkids and say, I took the oath. I did what I thought was the right thing to do. And you know what? I commend him for that. I'm not going to call him a hero, but I do think it took a little bit of courage to do what he did. He knew that there was going to be a tremendous backlash. And again, he was one of those people that voted for witnesses. But the backlash he is getting is absolutely unbelievable. Unfair, ridiculous. This is what they're doing now. This is what the right is they're doing. In fact, it is the White House. That's right, the White House that is coming up with talking points to go after Mitt Romney. Apparently, the White House is sending around anti-Romney talking points, according to Ashley Parker, who is a reporter, including Romney's decision uprising as this display of self-serving political expedience now come to define his career, which is completely ridiculous. If you want to call this self-serving, it's the opposite of self-serving, what Mitt Romney did. That is the dumbest talking point I've ever heard in my life. This was the opposite of self-serving when he decided to vote Donald Trump guilty in Article 1. How could you say that's self-serving? It's the opposite. Part of these talking points that the White House is putting out, which are despicable, also saying that Romney has a long history of flip-flopping with no sign of principles to be found. Well, I guess you could say that about a lot of other people like Mitch McConnell, and many others, many Republicans who have flip-flopped on a number of issues. Funny, the White House isn't putting out those talking points about Lindsey Graham, the flip-flopper himself. I don't think the guy's ever taken off his flip-flops. To me, it's just so disgusting. At least one high-profile Republican, saying reports, is ignoring the smear campaign. House Republican Conference Chair Liz Cheney, and good for her. She said yesterday she disagrees with Romney's vote on impeachment, but added he's a real value for us to have in the Senate. She said Senator Romney is a good and honorable man. I don't think anybody ought to question his faith. And she's right. And that's coming from Dick Cheney's wife. It's just so disgusting, and these Fox News hosts are piling it on as well. Let's start with Meghan McCain and Whoopi Goldberg, who got into it on The View the other day. Have a listen to this.
Just glad somebody stood up and said no.
But that's
fine.
And I don't. But what he wants. But that's what he wants.
But that's okay. You know what? I'm going to give faith in him like I gave to your dad. I'm giving
with all
faith.
due respect, Mitt Romney's nothing like my dad.
I am giving as much faith because I don't agree with Mitt Romney, but he stood up in a way that nobody else has except for your dad. So I'm saying to you,
the idea that
for me.
But I'm just saying, don't put all your bets on Romney right now. He will break your heart.
Don't put all your bets on Romney right now. You break your heart. My daddy, my daddy, my daddy. That is the moron, the clown that is Meghan McCain. And by the way, her daddy, if not for her daddy, she certainly would not be on The View, and nobody would know who the hell she was because she's an ignoramus. She is a moron. And Whoopi Goldberg is absolutely right. And you can make, in this specific situation, because I didn't always agree with John McCain, but you can make that comparison here. I don't always agree with Whoopi Goldberg either, but she's right. What Mitt Romney did is very similar to what John McCain did, when he voted against the Republicans, the health care situation. It's the same thing. He knew that there would be backlash, but he decided to stand up for his own principles and his own conscience, and I believe John McCain did the right thing, just as Mitt Romney did the right thing the other day. So Whoopi Goldberg is absolutely right, and Meghan McCain should shut her face. I say that about her every day, though, the stupid stuff that comes out of her mouth on a regular basis. Her and Donald Trump have a lot in common. I don't know if she realizes that. And what about Fox? What about Fox News? Have a listen to what these people are saying. Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, and Lou Dobbs. Have a listen to what they're saying about this Mitt Romney vote. It is unbelievable.
Romney is going to be associated with Judas, Brutus, Benedict Arnold forever, when he is not even a footnote in a footnote otherwise, because of his betrayal.
He's the ultimate selfish, preening, self-centered politician. He has good hair and a sort of okay singing voice.
An overwrought ethics lecture from a private equity guy? Next thing you know, some payday loan sleazeball will be telling us we're all going to hell. It's just too absurd, even for the ludicrous moment we're living in.
Welcome to Fox News, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, if I told you I was talking about an individual in politics and I said selfish, self-centered, ethics issues, what would you say? You'd probably say you must be talking about Donald Trump, right? Well, the evil racist witch in Laura Ingraham has never said anything like that about Donald Trump. None of those people have ever said anything about the president. But now they're going after Mitt Romney. Oh, and by the way, this guy was their nominee back in 2012, just 8 years ago. So what does that say about you? You want to talk about this guy and call him selfish and self-centered, ethics issues? This guy was your nominee. But all of a sudden, if you do anything to make Donald Trump look bad, if you speak the truth, good heavens, we're going to go after you. The White House is going to send out talking points, and most Fox News hosts, just about all of them, are going to go after you. It is disgusting, and it is disgraceful. Would you expect anything different from Lou Dobbs, Tucker Carlson, and Laura Ingraham? Really, would you? And what about Hugh Hewitt? Yeah, what a shocker by the guy by the name of Hugh Hewitt is a Trump supporter going after Mitt Romney for doing the right thing. This is Hugh Hewitt calling out Joe Biden now for saying well, I'm sorry, that's a different cut. We're going to get to that, but that's Rush Limbaugh. We'll get to that in a little bit. But listen, how disgusting the times that we are in right now, where it doesn't matter if you do the right thing. It doesn't matter if you vote your conscience. It doesn't matter to these Republicans. It's ridiculous to me. It doesn't make any sense. It's wrong. It's absurd. And like I said, I voted for Mitt Romney. And the reason why I did, because I think he's a decent guy. You think it's fair for everybody on the right now to be attacking this guy, except for maybe a few? Except for maybe Liz Cheney? If you watched Fox News all day yesterday, every single host was going after Mitt. Every single host. Even Laura Ingraham said that she would run against him in 4.5 years if she had to, which we know that would never happen because she's a liar. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely and positively ridiculous. But that's what these Republicans do. God forbid if Nancy Pelosi rips up a copy of the impeachment, or I'm sorry, a copy of the speech that Donald Trump made in the State of the Union the other day. God forbid if that happens, then it's World War III, right? You've got Matt Gaetz, DUI Matt, saying he wants to put criminal charges in to Nancy Pelosi for ripping up an official document, because apparently a copy of a document is an official document. Matt Gaetz is too dumb to understand that. But God forbid it. If somebody rips up, a copy of a speech, it's World War III. That's okay. But if the President of the United States withholds aid for personal gain, and even Republicans agree what he did was totally wrong, they're going to keep quiet about it, though. That's okay. The Fox News, Laura Ingrams, Tucker Carlsons of the world want to go after Mitt Romney for voting his conscience. And I absolutely believe 110% in that speech that we played yesterday when Mitt Romney was describing his vote, I 100% believe he was being genuine. He got emotional during that speech. By the way, other than, Donald Trump insulting people, have you ever seen Donald Trump do that before? Have you ever seen him get up there on a stage and actually get teary-eyed and emotional? He's given out a lot of awards to a lot of heroes before, right? His hero, Rush Limbaugh, Did you see him ever get teary-eyed? Have you ever seen Donald Trump in an honest, emotional moment where he actually showed emotion and caring towards someone else? You ever seen him do that before? I haven't. Mitt Romney did that the other day. And you know what? He should be commended for that. But Republicans won't do that. The right-wing nut jobs that do radio and TV are going to go after Mitt Romney, and all they're going to say is, oh, he's done in 4.5 years. He's out of there. He's out of there. What they're not going to say, and what they're not going to actually talk about, is the fact what he did was right. And many other Republicans agree, but they're too much of a coward, like Susan Collins, the coward Susan Collins. They're too much of a coward with no backbone to vote that way. The evidence was overwhelming, folks, and we didn't even hear all the evidence. We didn't hear from Mulvaney, and it looks like we're never going to hear from Mulvaney because it looks like he's going to be fired. We didn't hear from John Bolton. Looks like he's going to put in his book exactly what took place. That is a quid pro quo. We didn't hear under oath Lev Parnas, who keeps on releasing videos and more evidence that he was actually a lot closer to the president than the president wants to lead on. Remember when the president said, I don't know Lev Parnas. Don't know the guy. Well, then why are you talking policy with him, and why are you talking about firing certain members of the administration and the ambassador with Lev Parnas if you have no idea who he is? Number to call, 702-257-5396 if you want to be a part of this conversation. 702-257-5396. I personally believe that the backlash that Mitt Romney is getting is utterly disgusting. It absolutely and positively disgusts me. Here's a man who voted his conscience, and now people are calling for him to step down. Now people are calling for him to leave office. In fact, even worse, they're getting personal with him. If you listen to right-wing radio, if you listen to the television, if you watch Fox News, they're saying some pretty nasty things about Mitt Romney. Why? Name me one thing that Mitt Romney has done in his career. One thing negative, and I'll tell you right now, I'll guarantee you Donald Trump has done far worse. I guarantee you that. It makes 0 sense. These are what people on the right are doing. These are what Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, Lou Dobbs, that's what these people are doing. And now we learn this news story that the White House is putting out talking points to go after Mitt Romney. I mean, can you imagine that? Can you imagine if Barack Obama put out talking points to go after a Republican? There would be an unbelievable amount of backlash. But this is what the White House is doing now. Why? Mitt Romney didn't do anything wrong. He certainly didn't break the law. He said he voted his conscience, and I'm going to believe him on that. I believe him when he says that. What I can't believe, and I guess it shouldn't be shocking to me, is the way Republicans are reacting to this, the way the Republicans are behaving. And yes, there are a few out there that are defending Mitt Romney, even the ones that don't agree with his vote. And I do agree with it, by the way. But even the ones that don't, there's a few that are saying, listen, he's good for our party. Just knock it off. Leave him alone. This is what they do. This is what the right does. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. And again, that number to call, 257-5396. Let's start off with Carl. Carl, what's going on?
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Listen, Trump is all excited and wants to go after Pelosi about ripping up a copy of his speech. Well, do you remember when he had the Russian ambassadors in his the Oval Office, and all the notes taken down by the stenographers were then destroyed?
I remember.
Those were official notes of the meeting, because God knows what he said to the Russians. He probably gave everything to them, and he didn't want anybody to see it.
Yeah, no, I remember.
Is that any worse or any better? No,
But this is something we've grown accustomed to, right? If you wrong Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form, if you go after him in any way, shape, or form, he's going to go after you. Now the White House is sending out talking points that we're learning to go after Mitt Romney because, oh, God forbid, he flip-flopped on something. You know why he's going after Romney? He's jealous of Romney, and I'll tell you why. Romney is his father started American Motors. He's an extremely wealthy man worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you ever checked Trump's tax form, if you know anything about finances, how your net worth is calculated is your debt against your assets, against what you owe. Well, I mean, there's a simple way, but Carl,
and he owes more than he's got.
Well, listen, Carl, I agree with you, but there's a simple way of explaining that. Why won't you show your tax returns? And don't give me this, well, he doesn't have to. The law says he doesn't have to. Listen, there's a reason why he doesn't want to show his tax returns to us. And I think it's pretty obvious, and it comes down to two things. First of all, he's not worth anywhere near as much as he claims to be worth, number one. And number two, I wouldn't be surprised if there was criminal activity. Simple as that. What do you think about Mitt Romney? What do you think about the backlash that the right has gone after him over the course of the last 48 hours? I think it is utterly disgusting. The number to call, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Robin. Robin, you're next up in the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, it's nice to hear someone talking about both sides. I generally vote Republican. I did vote for Trump just because I didn't think the Democratic Party had a leg to stand on. I still don't, and I will probably vote for Trump again. I will say that the way everyone acts, politicians, television and radio personalities, it's all adolescent. I mean, good Lord, are we in junior high? It's ridiculous, and I would love to see some maturity and some real facts.
Robin, here's a real thought, Robin. Robin, let me ask you a question here. So you said you voted for Trump, right, in 2016?
I did.
Okay, so is there anything that the Democrats can do to get you on the other side? Is there a candidate or somebody that you could see on the other side, a Democrat, that you could vote for to vote against Donald Trump? Is there somebody out there?
Not yet.
Interesting. So there's really. So tell me why you would vote for him again in 2020, because I want to hear you out on this.
I think he's done a great job for the country financially. I'm making money hand over fist since he's been in office. My 401k has skyrocketed. I'm actually going to be buying a home for the first time. I'm 50 years old, and for the first time in my life, I can afford to buy a home since Donald Trump has been in office.
So, because maybe I'm ignorant to this, can you tell me exactly what policies he's put in place to help buy you a home?
You know, I don't know.
See, that's the problem.
Whatever he's doing is working.
Well, okay, listen, here's what I'll say to that.
I'm not going to tell you, I am not a political aficionado.
I understand, and that's okay, and that's all right.
I just know what happened. I just know what my life and what's happening in my home, in my neighborhood, in my town.
I understand.
You know? Yeah, I can't speak for political professionals. I'm not one, and I will never claim to be.
I understand.
Okay.
And listen, Robin, I understand, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just trying to get inside your head and trying to figure out. Here's the way I think, and maybe we think a little bit differently. I look at the unemployment numbers that are down, but when we talk about the economy, the ones that are benefiting the most are extremely wealthy and the rich. And I think it's 1% of middle class America that's actually.
I don't think that's true.
Well, it's a fact. I mean, I'm just giving you a fact on the economy.
I'm not one of those 1%ers.
Okay.
I make less than $50,000 a year.
Okay, so what is the raise?
How do you explain that?
Well, I'm trying to get you to explain it because you said you would vote for Trump.
I don't know how to explain it. All I know is it's happening.
Okay, well, Did you not get any raises under Barack Obama in 8 years? Do you know how the
I did not. Yes, I did. My employer gave me a 1.5% raise.
Okay.
And but this year, I got a 7% raise.
Which is great.
And I want to tell you something else. I work in the medical industry.
Yes.
Okay. I work from home. So, that's huge. So when Obama was in office, I got 1.3% actually, and then 7% raise.
Sure.
Now.
Well, listen, let me say this. Robin.
I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, no, I understand, Robin. First of all, let me say this. I'll state the obvious. I'm happy for you that you got a 7% raise, and I think that's fantastic. And I truly am genuinely happy for you. But here's what I would also say. When I vote and when I look at the economy, I'm not just thinking about myself. I'm thinking about all of America, particularly the middle class and the people that are struggling. If you look at the economy, and if you don't believe me, you could look up the numbers yourself. Yes, unemployment number. Hold on. Let me just finish. No, hold on, Robin, hang on. Let me just finish my thought. If you look at the unemployment numbers, yes, they're down. Certainly there was a big spark when Obama took office. He took over a mess under George W. Bush. And the numbers have continued to go down. However, there's a lot of people, mothers and fathers, that are working 2 or 3 jobs. Many in America, their salaries have not gone up. I just think that's a very important point. Listen, I want you to do what you feel is best for you. You have the right to vote any way you want to vote, and I am happy for you that you are doing and prospering and doing very well. The only thing I would say to you, Robin, is I'm not sure the policies that Donald Trump have put in place helps middle-class America. That's just that would.
I am the middle-class Americans, and my friends and neighbors who are also middle-class Americans are also reaping the benefits of financial successes since Trump has been in office.
Okay,
and maybe that's what it comes down to for me. And I guess I can't speak for my friends and neighbors, but it's financially, I'm doing better.
I get it, Robin, and I'm happy for you, but I think we're going around in circles here. And again, what I will tell you is this. You do not represent everybody in this country, middle-class America. You seem to be a great exception to the fact, but a lot of people that I talk to are struggling. A lot of people that I talk to, some mothers out there working $10, $11 an hour jobs, working 2 or 3 jobs, particularly in Las Vegas. And this is the thing that's troubling to me. When I talk to a Trump supporter and they say, I'm going to vote for him in 2020, what policies has he put in place to help you? And they don't know how to answer that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Congressman Seth Moulton will be back right after this.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-244-6060. That's 800-244-6060. 800-244-6060. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Their price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Reacting to an appeals court decision disallowing individual members of Congress to seek the president's financial papers to see if he has violated the Anti-Corruption Emoluments Clause.
It was a total win. This was brought by 230 Democrats in Congress on emoluments. It was another phony case, and we won it 3-0. We won it unanimously.
The World Health Organization is warning the world is facing a chronic shortage of gowns, masks, and other protective medical equipment that is needed because of the coronavirus. The number of reported new infections has dropped for the last 2 days in China, but the organization says they could spike once again. More than 300,000 homes and businesses without power in the south after a massive storm raked the region. At least 5 were killed. The storm could intensify as it heads to the northeast. The Dow is down about 180. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Letterman Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Russell Stover Candies. Watch for slowing for the crash Flamingo west of Valley View Boulevard, now in the clearing stage. And an accident now reported Gowan at Fort Apache. And Highway Patrol responding to a crash reported on the Western Beltway 215 southbound south of Far Hills. Watch for police activity reported Tropicana westbound at I-15 for motorist assist, maybe a stalled vehicle. This Valentine's Day, don't forget a classic heart box from Russell Stover. No matter how you celebrate, 5-star meals or 5 minutes without kids, make it sweeter. Russell Stover. Make happy. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
And paid for by Protect My Car. Attention vehicle owners with an auto warranty about to expire or with no coverage at all. No matter the mileage on your vehicle, Protect My Car can provide a unique extended service plan to help you avoid costly repair bills and save you thousands. To celebrate 15 years in business, we further reduced our rates, and we're adding free roadside assistance, free towing, and free car rental at no cost to all new service plans. Call 800-981-7508 for your free quote. Again, that's 800-981-7508.
Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro coming up here in just a few minutes. We'll be talking to Congressman Seth Moulton. He was one of the few Democrats that actually walked out during the State of the Union speech. So we'll be getting to him in just a few minutes. You know, that last caller was very interesting to me because here we have somebody who's a Trump supporter, could not vote for a Democrat. And the reason why she's voting for Trump is because she got a raise, right? Which I'm happy for her. I'm happy for anybody who works hard and deserves a raise, right? I'm not happy for people that don't deserve raises. I'm going to assume she's done a good job at her, at what she does, whatever she is doing, and she got a raise. I'm happy for her. But then when I ask her, because this was the big point for her why she's going to vote for Trump in 2020, I said, what has Donald Trump done for you as far as policy-wise? What policies has he put in place in order for you to get the raise? And she couldn't answer it. Don't you think that's an important answer? I mean, I think it's an important answer. But anyway, the State of the Union speech, people are still talking about it a few days ago. And there were a couple Democrats that actually walked out during that speech. And one of them, certainly a friend of the show. We have a lot of respect for him. A former Marine Corps combat veteran, deployed 4 times. And we love having him on. That is Congressman Seth Moulton. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Absolutely. Good to be back.
Appreciate it. So a lot of questions to get to in a short period of time. Let's start with the big one. We all watched the State of the Union address. We know that you were not the only one to walk out in the middle of it. Can you explain to us what triggered you and why you did that?
Absolutely. Look, I left the State of the Union after Donald Trump, who's a draft dodger, he's mocked John McCain, Gold Star families, he's mocked soldiers with traumatic brain injury most recently. After he started talking about all the good he's done for the military. I mean, it's just not true. He's been terrible for the military. And the example, I mean, let's also not forget pardoning war criminals. I mean, This is a guy who has betrayed the troops, not led us strongly. And so when he started saying that, that was just one that That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. That was one step too far. He said a lot of lies during his speech, but that one hit personally, and so I stood up and walked out.
Were you in there when Republicans were chanting 4 more years? Because I thought that was beyond inappropriate. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it was totally inappropriate, But the problem is all these Republicans are just scared of the guy. And it's kind of pathetic that they're all scared of the draft dodger. But they are. They're scared of him. And they're not willing to stand up to him. So they say all these things in private about how terrible he is. But then they'll go there, and when they're on TV, they'll do things like that. It's just totally inappropriate. Even worse, I think even worse than the State of the Union was Donald Trump's performance at the National Prayer Breakfast yesterday.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if you heard about this, but it was a really impressive bipartisan event with Democrats and Republicans sharing the podium. In some cases, literally sharing the microphone and talking about the teachings of Jesus, where he says, you've got to love your enemy. And we had a speaker, Arthur Brooks, who's an American conservative, who gave a great talk about that, about love thine enemy. And he literally quoted Jesus. And what happened next? Donald Trump got up and said, I disagree with you. In other words, the president just immediately got up and said, I disagree with Jesus Christ. We should not love our enemies. And he went on to attack Democrats, to say that that the impeachment process, which is written into the Constitution for presidents who break the law,
right,
which Donald Trump did. He broke the law. Don't forget that. He broke the law. He just says we're evil. It was so hypocritical. And I can't tell you how many Republicans have come up to me and just shaking their heads and said, this is disgusting. It was terrible. And yet they'll defend him on TV.
Yeah, can I ask you about that? So how many Republicans have you spoken to? And we don't expect you to name names here. If you want to, you're more than welcome to. But how many Republicans have gone up to you that actually voted for him to be not guilty and that have gone up to you and talked about it privately, making it sound like he is guilty?
No, I don't know what the number is. I'm not going to use names. These are my colleagues. But,
right,
it's the worst hypocrisy you can imagine.
Really?
These people know that they're doing the wrong thing, that they're just totally political. And when you saw Mitt Romney get up and give that speech, you saw a picture of political courage. You also got a good measure of exactly how rare it is.
Yeah.
One Republican in Congress.
I want to talk to you about Romney right before we get to that. Let's talk about Alexander and Rubio, 2 people who voted not guilty, yet in their explanations about their vote, they pretty much said he was guilty. I am so confused by this, Seth. I just don't understand it. What do you make of this? What do you make of these senators getting up there and saying, well, you know what? I voted not guilty, but we all know he's guilty. That's pretty much what they're saying, right?
It is. They're trying to have it both ways. You can't. They're being cowardly, and they'll be remembered for that. Someday their grandkids will ask them, excuse me, how did you do this, Granddad? And they're not going to look good in the light of history. I'm not sure why they don't think about that, why they don't understand that. But, John F. Kennedy wrote a book. Actually, it turns out probably a speechwriter wrote it. But he wrote a book called Profiles in Courage. And I think they profiled 7 or 8 politicians throughout American history who've displayed real political courage. And every single one of those examples is someone who stood up against his own party. It's not someone who just fought really hard against the opposing party, like these guys are trying to do, or like Trump does every day. It's someone who had the courage to go against their own party, to say, we're the ones, look ourselves in the mirror, we're the ones who need to do a better job. That's what Mitt Romney did. He looked himself in the mirror. He said, we Republicans need to look ourselves in the mirror and recognize the truth here. And the truth is that the president broke the law.
Yeah, no question. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Congressman Seth Moulton out of Massachusetts. And Seth, let's talk a little bit more about Mitt Romney. So we did our first segment talking about people on the right that are going after Mitt Romney. I don't know if you heard this story. The White House is now putting out talking points to go after Mitt Romney, allegedly. And if you just watch Fox News, which I'm not sure you do, Seth, I watch it from time to time.
I watch it from time to time.
Yeah, so the likes of Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, Lou Dobbs, they're calling him selfish. They're calling him self-centered. They're saying he broke ethics violations. In fact, Laura Ingraham went as far as to say in 4.5 years, I'll run against him if he doesn't resign. I think it's absolutely deplorable and disgusting. What do you make of the way the right is attacking Mitt Romney?
It's so pathetic. These people are like in middle school. They think that it's selfish to actually have the courage to do the right thing. They think it's an ethical violation to actually be ethical. instead of do what Mitch McConnell tells you to do, which is violating your oath. They all swore to be impartial jurors, and yet half of them said, and Mitch McConnell included, we're going to vote to acquit before they even heard any evidence.
Right.
Do you think it's ethical to have a trial without allowing a single witness or a single additional piece of evidence? I mean, if you can't see through Laura Ingraham, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. And listen, Seth.
I remember being in Moscow once.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Moscow, authoritarian country under Putin and everything else, and you walk into this government building and they've got the state TV playing about just propaganda. State TV just does whatever, says whatever supports Putin. And I remember looking at it and thinking, well, that's just like Fox back home. All they do is support Trump no matter what the truth is.
It's just unbelievable. And listen, if anybody knows a thing or two about courage, it's you. I know you're a very modest guy, but you risked your life for this country. You were deployed 4 times. You won medals for your courageous acts. And
well, look, I don't like to talk about that stuff, but the reality is that there are a lot of veterans out there who've done amazing things for this country. But the important thing to remember is that every one of us swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. It wasn't an oath to the president, not to the commander-in-chief. It wasn't to our political party. It was an oath to protect and defend the Constitution.
Right.
That's what Mitt Romney did. He recognized his oath that he took in the United States Senate, which, by the way, it's word for word the same oath that you take in the United States military, to protect and defend the Constitution. Laura Ingraham just has an oath to protect and defend Fox News and the conservative Republican Party.
There you go.
That's her only oath. She doesn't care about the Constitution.
You're absolutely right. What would you say about a woman by the name of Susan Collins, one of your colleagues, who after voting not guilty, after voting not guilty said, I believe he learned his lesson. That has got to be one of the dumbest comments I've ever heard in my life. After somebody commits a crime, do you let them off scot-free? And said, I think he learned his lesson.
Yeah. I mean, so tell her to go home and, someone robs a bank and she just said, oh, well, we shouldn't charge him. I think he learned his lesson.
Yeah.
Someone killed someone. Oh, well, I don't know. I think she learned her lesson. I mean, it's just pathetic.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I think there are a lot of Republicans like her who know deep down in their heart that he's guilty. But let's talk about the word courage for a second. Listen, I have a lot of respect for Mitt Romney. I liked him 10 years ago, and I like him today. I think it's sad, Seth, that we live in a day and age today that you vote your conscience and you take your oath seriously, and we have to call you a hero for it. Yeah, I think listen, like I said, I respect Mitt Romney for doing his job, but, I mean, we shouldn't have to call him a hero. We shouldn't have to praise him to high end for doing what he's supposed to do. Do you see what I'm saying?
The founders of our country set up the impeachment process with the understanding that we might sometime get a lawless president. We might get a president who's just out for himself. In fact, if you look at some of Madison's writings on the impeachment process, it's the kind of person that would have to be impeached. It's an exact description of Donald Trump, someone who's just out for himself,
right,
into self-aggrandizement, trying to, make sure that things are corrupted for his own benefit. But they entrusted that power in the United States Senate because they thought that United States senators would have the conscience, the good conscience to remember their oath to the Constitution and do the right thing, even if it hurt them politically, even if it wasn't popular back home.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think if the founders came back today, they'd only see one United States senator, at least on the Republican side, only one United States senator who actually lived up to their expectations.
What do you think is the future now, though, for Mitt Romney? Because obviously, I don't know what's going to happen 4.5 years from now, Seth. I have no idea. What if he did decide to change, become an independent, or even move to the Democratic Party? Now, I don't agree with a lot of his stances on a ton of issues. I would imagine you don't either. But I think we both have a mutual respect for him. I've always respected Mitt Romney. What do you think about his future now in politics?
Oh, I don't. I'm honestly not a political pundit. I mean, I might be in politics, but it sure as hell isn't my background.
No,
so
I understand.
I'm not sure. But I will tell you this: 50 years from now, 100 years from now, he'll be remembered as a great man.
I agree.
He'll be one of the only members of the United States Senate in 2020 who's remembered as a great man.
I couldn't agree with you more.
If that's the long-term future for Romney, that's pretty bright.
I agree. And when he said, and by the way, I thought that was a heartfelt speech he made. I thought he was emotional. And when he said, I can tell my kids and my grandkids that, I took my oath seriously, I thought that was very, very important of him to say that. You can't say that about the other Republicans. Let's talk a little bit about Nancy Pelosi for a second. A lot of people on the right, including Matt Gaetz, very upset about her tearing up a copy of the speech, the State of the Union. And then Gaetz goes on television saying he wants to criminally charge her for ripping up official documents? Last I checked, a copy of a speech is not an official document. Tell me what the hell you think Matt Gaetz was thinking, number one. And number two, what did you make of her actions in ripping up a copy of that speech?
Matt Gaetz is thinking that he can get on TV. That's what he's thinking. And he says something like that. He just tries to say the most radical thing possible so he gets covered. That's what he's thinking, I know. But look, Matt Gaetz, if you go to his office, he probably has 2 or 3 paper shredders in his office. We all do.
Right.
We literally shred official documents all day long. So his statement is absurd, okay, on the face of it. He's just trying to get attention. But let me tell you this, too. The fact that Matt Gaetz is willing to make this absurd suggestion that Nancy Pelosi broke the law by shredding paper, something his office does all day long with official documents, and yet not vote to convict the president when the Nonpartisan Government Accountability Office, the United States government itself, has said that he broke the law. I mean, that's just, again, just the ultimate hypocrisy. And that's the thing. You know what? I don't expect everybody on your radio show to agree with me. I'm sure there are people who are stewing and saying, I want to go back to Fox News. I want to hear someone, who's on there. I mean, trust me, I know. I mean, I love taking your callers, but I mean, you got a lot of colorful characters out there, and I know that they're not all going to agree with me.
Yeah.
But I just want people to know that they can trust them telling the truth, and that's the thing. I'm telling the truth. You may not agree with all of my views, my opinions, but I'm not going to butcher the facts.
You're right. And you know what?
These people are doing.
You're right.
And they're butchering their own word.
I could not agree with you more, Seth. And speaking of telling the truth, I went on this show yesterday and I said I thought it was disgusting that the President of the United States gave a racist, misogynistic man, based on the comments he's made, Rush Limbaugh, in his career, a radio talk show host and entertainer, this award. After all the disgusting things he said over the course of his career, I thought it was a joke. There are so many heroes out there that you could have given that award to. He decides to give it to Rush Limbaugh. Can you explain that? Because I just don't get it.
Donald Trump just has no respect for the institutions of the United States government, including the Constitution itself. And what we've learned under his presidency is there are a lot of things that aren't written into the law. I mean, we've just always trusted Republicans and Democrats, Whigs, whoever the party is, we've trusted presidents to make reasonable decisions about who to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom,
right.
And there are plenty of, look, I went to war under George W. Bush. I mean, I saw a lot of buddies die because of decisions that he made. I didn't like W. Bush. I voted against him twice. But he would never give a Presidential Medal of Freedom to Rush Limbaugh. I mean, give me a break. There is a certain level of basic decency and respect for the office of the presidency, regardless of whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, a liberal, a conservative, or somewhere in between. There is a respect for the institution that just said, I'm not going to stoop so low as to give a racist talk show host a Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I would imagine many of your Democrats friends were appalled by that. Have you heard any Republicans say that they thought that was the wrong move for the president to give that award out to Rush Limbaugh?
Well, the thing is that they're also scared of his, public persona and his ability to attack you politically. That their reaction is, well, he was playing to his base. It was a good political move. When are we going to get out of just doing what's right politically and talk about doing what's right for our country?
Yeah, and
putting the country ahead of politics.
Right.
Putting people that we're supposed to represent ahead of our political parties.
Yeah. And
that's what we should be doing.
And speaking of doing the right thing, Seth, I think I speak for you. I speak for many on the left that would say we wanted John Bolton to testify. We wanted Mulvaney to testify. We wanted Mike Pompeo to testify. Why? Because we want the truth. We wanted to see those text messages. We wanted all the evidence put forward, and then let's make a decision. Yet the Republicans block it. So my question to you is this. How can we have called that a trial when no witnesses were allowed to testify? It's crazy.
That's exactly right. And it wasn't a trial. I mean, it just wasn't. It was. I'd never heard of a trial anywhere. Yeah. I mean, where there's no evidence. I mean, you don't get a speeding ticket without have a trial for a speeding ticket and have no evidence.
Sure.
I mean, that's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Speaking of crazy, what about Alan Dershowitz and the point that he made? Well, he made a lot of ridiculous points, but the point that he makes when he gets up there and he says, well, the president had a right to want to investigate the Bidens, And he also had a right to do all these different things because, he thought it was in the best interest of the country for him to run in 2020 and investigate one of his political rivals. That's totally okay because he thought it was the right for him to do that because it's best for the American people if he's the president again in 2020. I mean, that was the argument that Dershowitz made.
Again, if we get in a big argument and I get really pissed off at you, and I say, you know what, it's in my best interest to go punch you in the face. That doesn't make it legal. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know what planet Dershowitz is living on. I mean, he looks like an alien, but I don't know what he's thinking.
It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's. Do you think that eventually we will hear from John Bolton? What do you think Nancy Pelosi is going to do moving forward? We know that Bolton is going to put this book out. At least we assume he is, even though Donald Trump is basically threatening him if he puts this evidence out there. But here, what do you make of a guy like John Bolton? I wanted to ask you that, Seth. Because here's a guy that could have come forward. He didn't show up when you guys wanted him to testify earlier. He ignored that request. Then his attorneys try to sue you guys, right? And then all of a sudden he says, you know what? If you guys subpoena me, I'll talk now. And then all of a sudden, conveniently, he has this book coming out and he's getting paid for it. What does it say about this man, John Bolton, that it appears to me he cares more about profit and making money than doing the right thing? Because he could have done an interview with Fox News or CNN. He could have done a press conference. Nothing held him back from doing that because he wasn't working in Trump's administration anymore. What does that say about the man, John Bolton?
I mean, he's just like Rubio and Alexander and Collins, who are saying one thing and doing the opposite, trying to have it both ways. Basically, he wants to clear his name by telling what really happened and showing that he's not complicit with the law-breaking president. I mean, that's why he wants to tell the story, because he knows that President Trump broke the law, and he wants to get himself out of it. At the same time, he wants to have the courts force him to testify so that he can go back to his Republican buddies and say, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to throw the president under the bus, but the courts made me do it. They made me. They forced me. What am I to do? So he's just trying to have it both ways. And yes, he is trying to profit off his book in the meantime.
What does it say, Seth, that Fox News paid this guy as a contributor for 11 years? I don't recall anybody saying anything negative about him. And now all of a sudden, just like Mitt Romney, everybody going after John Bolton, including the President of the United States and everybody in his administration, and even some of these talk show hosts now are calling out this guy. What does it say about the Republican Party?
That the Republican Party is basically become a party that's an adherent to a king. That all they do is support Donald Trump no matter what crazy stuff he does. And it's not a party. It's like a party has principles.
Yeah.
One of the Republican Party principles was, we're going to be fiscally responsible. Well, Trump just passed this unpaid-for tax cut just for the wealthy and big corporations that's created one of the largest deficits in American history. They had this principle that we were going to be strong on foreign policy, and yet Trump has just been retreating from Syria, where we were fighting ISIS and abandoning our Kurdish allies. He's been cozying up to enemies like Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. That's not strong on foreign policy. That's pathetically weak. That's the kind of policy you'd expect from a draft dodger, which, of course, I forgot. That's what we got.
Of course.
But the point is that all these Republicans are abandoning their principles to just support a man. And that is against everything. That is the polar opposite of what this country is supposed to be about. My ancestors left England to get away from a monarchy, to get away from a place where everybody just supported the king no matter what he did, to start a country for the people, for, by, through the people. That's the kind of country that America is, but that's not the kind of country that Republicans are representing under Donald Trump.
You're absolutely right. Seth, we love you. You're a hero, and we hope you keep up the good work there. We know you will. And you have a great, I guess not to bring up Mitt Romney again, and we don't know what is ahead for him, but we know what's ahead for you, and that's nothing but success. You're a breath of fresh air, my friend, and we really do appreciate you taking some time to join us as you always do, and look forward to speaking with you again, Congressman. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Take care.
All right, take care. All right, that is Congressman Seth Moulton, one of a few Democrats who actually walked out during the State of the Union speech. That's a hero right there we just had on our show. That's a man who risked his life for this country, was deployed 4 times, won a bunch of medals for his heroism, and that's a man who tells the truth. That's a man who doesn't really care what the political backlash will be for what he says. That's a man who believes in what he says, and I'll tell you right now, wherever Seth Moulton runs, whether that's for president, I don't care what it is, that man has my vote, because not only does he have the utmost respect from me, he is a hero, and he speaks it. See, there's a difference between speaking your mind and telling it like it is, with showing some respect for the country, not embarrassing the country. That's a perfect example of that. Seth Moulton is an extremely opinionated guy. Extremely opinionated guy. But he's honest, he's sincere with his opinions. That is a good man. That is what America should be all about, and those are the people that should be representing us. People who serve this country honorably, who are heroes, not those who dodge the military with bone spurs. Those aren't the people that should be representing us. And if you want to continue to attack Mitt Romney for what I consider is doing the right thing, you can go ahead and do that. We're going to talk about Rush Limbaugh when we come back. In fact, we're going to play a little game called Rush Jeopardy. That's right. Rush Jeopardy. Trust me, if you're a Rush Limbaugh fan, you're certainly not going to want to miss this segment. That is coming up next, and we will also talk about, again, the Medal of Freedom Award that was given to Rush Limbaugh. And those that are going after anybody who attacked the fact that the president gave this award to Rush Limbaugh. And now we have people calling out the Bidens. We have some people, even on this exact radio station, they are saying they can't recall anything negative that Rush Limbaugh has said. We're going to play some of that audio to remind those right-wing talk show hosts that he has said some pretty bad things. But we're going to play a little game called Rush Jeopardy coming up next. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this, folks. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. This is the Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Check out and subscribe to the Vegas Take YouTube page to revisit any topic or any guest interview.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evenings from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by South Point Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
Millions retire online so they can do what they want offline. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Kilmeade, Hannity, Levin, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
The clock is ticking. Virus fears growing. I'm Mike Moss. Iowa Democratic leaders are putting candidates on the clock if they want to report alleged vote problems or demand a recanvass. Correspondent Jeff Zeleny has the breaking details from Des Moines.
The Iowa Democratic Party is requesting for campaigns to submit documentary evidence of inconsistencies between the data reported and the records for result of a correction. So that is supposed to become by noon tomorrow. So basically saying to campaigns, if you see some inconsistencies in certain precincts or satellite caucuses, give that to us by noon tomorrow. And then by noon on Monday, request a recanvass or a recount.
Pete Buttigieg holds a slim delegate lead over Bernie Sanders in Iowa. Both appear locked in a virtual tie ahead of the New Hampshire primary next week. President's trying to reassure Americans that health officials are staying on top of the coronavirus.
China's working very hard Late last night, I had a very good talk with President Xi, and we talked mostly about the coronavirus. They're working really hard, and I think they're doing a very professional job.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, says 4 patients from a cruise ship in Bayonne, New Jersey, are being tested for the virus in a hospital.
Whenever you have a situation where you have potential exposures, you want to make sure that if a person is exposed and is a high risk, you want to do further screening of the individual. And I think at least a few of those passengers were taken off the ship for further screening at a local hospital.
January unemployment shows many more new jobs created than expected, 225,000 new jobs, but unemployment rose to 3.6% because of a surge of people who have re-entered the job market, and not all of them found new jobs. On Wall Street, the Dow up 206 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Leonard Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Russell Stover Candies. Watch for slowing for the crash Flamingo west of Valley View Boulevard, now in the clearing stage. And an accident now reported Gowan at Fort Apache. And Highway Patrol responding to a crash reported on the Western Beltway 215 southbound south of Far Hills. Watch for police activity reported Tropicana westbound at I-15 for motorist assist, maybe a stalled vehicle. This Valentine's Day, don't forget a classic Heart Box from Russell Stover. No matter how you celebrate, 5-star meals or 5 minutes without kids, make it sweeter. Russell Stover. Make happy. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their New Year sale.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete DeRuta. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k.
Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday afternoon at 2 on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, Doug Basham here. Join me Saturday afternoons from 2 to 4, and I'll tell you what your conservative, corporate-controlled, right-wing propaganda hate media isn't. You're welcome. That's Saturday afternoons, 2 to 4. Be there.
Hi, this is Harvey Blankfeld, host of Las Vegas Real Estate Now. We are saying farewell to Tuesdays at 9 a.m. and moving to Saturdays at 11 a.m. Please do tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. and learn about real estate right here on the new 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, rolling out hour number 2. A reminder, we are broadcasting live on YouTube. It is the Vegas Take YouTube page. We're all over social media, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. We're everywhere. So check us out. Just the keyword is the Vegas Take. So some of you might be aware of this. Some people on the right are suffering from something I call Rush Limbaugh amnesia. Well, let me explain to you what that means. There are some talk show hosts on the right that are forgetting some of the horrendous things, racist, misogynistic, homophobic things that Rush Limbaugh has said over the course of his broadcasting career. I want you to listen to Hugh Hewitt, who seems to be suffering from Rush amnesia. Hugh, what do you make of this whole situation?
I have to say that's slanderous from Corn Pop. Remember Corn Pop? Remember Joe Biden and Corn Pop? Remember Joe Biden saying Barack Obama was clean? Talking about Indian accents at Kmart. Rush Limbaugh has zero racism in him, and to attribute to him is slandered.
Zero racism in him. Oh, we'll get to that in a second, Hugh. We want to help you out because you do have some Rush amnesia. This is a guy that I'm really disappointed because this is a guy that's been on our show. Brian Kilmeade has been on our show. I actually think Brian Kilmeade does a really good show. He does a good job. And Kilmeade came on our show a few months ago, and he was very respectful to us. We loved having him on, promoting his book, and we'd love to have him on again. But here's what Brian Kilmeade said on Fox Business. He says he doesn't remember Rush being a racist. Have a listen to this.
I listen to Rush early and often.
Yep.
I never remember derogatory terms towards African Americans.
All right, well, we'll help you with your Rush Limbaugh amnesia. This is a song that Rush Limbaugh played on his show. Tell me if you think this is racist.
Barack Obama.
Barack, the magic Negro, lives in D.C. The LA Times, they call him that cause he's not authentic like me. Yeah, the guy from the LA paper said he make guilty whites feel good. They'll vote for him and not for me cause he's not from the hood.
Yeah, that's not racist at all. Barack the Magic Negro. Yeah, I mean, that's not racist.
That's about as racist as it gets.
I mean, but according to Hugh Hewitt, that's slanderous if we call him racist. And listen, Brian Kilmeade, he's never heard, he can't recall Rush ever being racist.
I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed in Brian Kilmeade just because he didn't listen to the show when when something like that was played on his show.
I'm sure that must be what it is. What about when Rush went after the former president of China, President who?
Nobody was translating. But that's the closest I can get.
All right. Well, we just wanted to help all of you that are suffering from Rush amnesia. Mr. Hewitt, we hope we helped you with that. So we want to move on now to a game we are going to call Rush Jeopardy, ladies and gentlemen. Rush Jeopardy. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't find Alex Trebek. So right from his one-bedroom apartment a block down the street, the replacement to Alex Trebek, Jason Stein Trebek. Jason, thank you so much for being here. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Nice to be here. You know, did Alex Trebek ever win the Congressional Medal of Freedom?
I don't think so, no.
Right?
He should for that mustache.
He has cancer. He has cancer, too.
I agree.
He's going to die soon,
I'll tell you what, I'd rather give it to Alex Trebek than Rush Limbaugh.
I don't recall
He's made a lot of contributions.
All right.
And I don't recall anything overly racist out of his mouth either.
Mr. Stein Trebek, can I call you that? Can you explain to us the rules of the game? How is this going to work? It is between myself and J.D. Sharp. How does this Rush Jeopardy work, Mr. Stein?
Well, haven't really thought it out. I put this together about 5 minutes ago. But no, it's going to be pretty simple here. We've got five categories, which you gentlemen have in front of you.
Fair.
And 5 questions that correspond with 5 questions. These are things related to Rush Limbaugh and things he has said over the years. And some might consider derogatory towards black people or gay people, for instance.
Okay.
So I will ask the questions, and then you two are the contestants.
And we pick the categories.
You pick the categories, and then I'll ask you the questions, and then we'll see. who's got the most points.
Under normal circumstances, we would flip a coin to see who goes first, but since JD was 45 minutes late to the show, I'm making it upon myself to go first. Are you okay with
I
that?
believe I was 42 minutes late to the show. I could have stepped in about 12 minutes into the Seth Moulton interview, but I decided to have a conversation with Mr. Stein.
You lost your privilege to go first.
I had a very, very important call this morning that I could not miss.
Was it Rush Limbaugh who
It
called
had
in?
nothing to do with Rush Limbaugh, but it had to do with
His new sex doll just arrived.
All right, so I will choose the first category. Is that fair? Are we all okay with
go
that?
for it, yeah.
All right, can I please get Rush take on women for 300, please? Rush on women.
Rush on women. Answer. In 2012, Georgetown law professor Sandra Fluke testified in front of Congress in support of mandated insurance coverage for contraceptives. Rush responded to the testimony by calling her this.
What is a slut?
That is correct.
Thank you.
And Brian, I also would have.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
and I
you.
also would have accepted prostitute.
Okay.
Because he did call her a slut and a prostitute.
Okay, I'm 1-0, baby. All right, JD, you're next.
Let's go. Rush's thoughts on the NBA.
Rush's thoughts on the NBA. The answer is.
Well, no, it's not an answer. It's a question.
No, you don't watch Jeopardy.
Okay.
Brian, they go answer first.
Fine.
And then the question you have to phrase who is, what is.
Right.
He's never seen
All right,
Jeopardy.
shut up. Go ahead.
It's only been on the air for 28 years.
Shut up. Shut up. Go ahead.
Answer. Rush once suggested the NBA should be changed to this name.
The TBA, the Thug Basketball Association. That's the proper
Please put it
acronym.
in the form of a question.
What is the TBA? The Thug Basketball Association.
Correct. All right, it's 1-1.
All right, let's see. Things Rush said about gays for 400, please.
And the answer is, when this person turns their back on you, it's an invitation, according to Rush.
What's the question?
That's the answer.
So I don't understand.
Wait,
How am I supposed to
I can
answer this?
steal this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I ask a question, then you respond in the form of a question.
Right.
This person, when this person turns their back on you, it's an invitation.
What is a homosexual?
Correct.
Yes. Yes.
I also would have accepted gay person.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like we just need to get something wrong. So we
I
can
feel
play the
like
sound.
I should have made the questions a little tougher.
Jason Stein Trebek, with the hyphen in the middle, obviously, is very lenient on his answers.
Very lenient.
Very lenient.
I feel like we should just get one wrong on purpose. All right, go ahead,
Yeah,
JD.
get it wrong on purpose.
All right, Mr. Trebek, will you please move the game along? You're a terrible host.
Let's go, Trebek.
Next category, please.
Rush on world leaders for 300.
Okay, and this is an audio clue. Answer. The Chinese leader that Rush translated in 2011. Here's your audio clue.
I don't know if you could get any clues in there for that. I don't think he said his name.
What is President Xi?
Incorrect.
Jew.
That's wrong. Alex,
We
can
got
I
it wrong
steal?
just so we could
Can
play
I-
that
can I
sound.
steal?
Yes, for the steal. Yes, go.
What is President Who?
Who? H-U. Correct.
Can you play that?
Okay, fine.
I'm sorry, can we play that one more time?
Thank
the
you.
mocking of President Who? I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Can we play that? There we go, thank you. Okay, I think he said President Who in there somewhere, but I'm not sure. Anyway, okay, so what do we have left here?
We have Final Jeopardy.
Okay, Final Jeopardy time.
Yeah, Final Jeopardy.
Oh, wow. Okay, Final Jeopardy
All right,
time.
and the category is what? Things that Rush has said about black people.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay.
All right, so here's the answer, and then you guys will have 30 seconds or so to think about it and write your answers down. Okay, and here's the answer. The civil rights activist that...
He's very prepared.
Answer. The civil rights activist Rush said looked like pictures of wanted criminals. I'll repeat that. The civil rights activist that Rush once said looked like pictures of wanted criminals.
Jinka, jinky, jinka, jinky.
You can't say that.
I apologize. Well, I should say that because I could get the Medal of Freedom Award. This is serious,
By the way, the answer is not Minister Stretch Sanders. I'll give that's a hint.
Okay, now I need to put how much I'm doing this for, right?
Yeah, sure. How much? We'll find out how much you wagered. All right, we'll start with JD because he's behind right now. JD, can I have your answer? No, you don't tell me your answer. Give me your phone.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Alex Trebek would always read it, right?
Right.
You don't read it. I read it. JD writes, Jesse Jackson. Correct? And he wagered $1,200.
Damn it.
Is that real money?
Real money.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
You actually owe me half of that. You owe me $600. I haven't
And Brian also guessed correct. Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson. Who is Jesse Jackson? Is the answer to
Who's the winner?
The civil rights activist Rush said look like pictures of wanted criminals. I don't see your wager here. What is this? The price of a Negro? What did you? Why'd you write?
I took that out of the Rush Limbaugh playbook.
Is that taken out of context?
Yes, completely out of context. Don't take it out of context.
All right.
No,
well,
I wagered $1,200 as well.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
then I don't know. Somebody wins. But listen, let's all celebrate with a song, a parody song about Barack Obama, and then everybody will win.
Fair enough.
Barack, the magic Negro, lives in D.C. The LA Times, they call him that cause he's not authentic like me. Yeah, the guy from the LA paper.
Come to think of it, I can't think of a time Rush was racist either.
Yeah.
They'll vote for him and not for me cause he's not from the
All right.
All right, well, that's not racist at all. Anyway, Mr. Stein
Thank you for
Trebek-
playing Jeopardy.
Yes, Mr. Stein Trebek, thank you so much for being a guest host. We
Yes.
appreciate
Well,
it.
no, well, hang on a second.
I really enjoyed this, Mr. Steinberg. I think we should do this at least once a week moving forward.
Can we go out with the Jeopardy song since Jeopardy is now over for the day? Thank you for listening and playing Rush Jeopardy. But that's not how they end the show, is
No,
it?
that's not how they end the show at all.
Oh, okay.
God, what a terrible host. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take your calls. We hope we helped you with your Rush Limbaugh amnesia. If we didn't, you're welcome to call in at 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. 702-257-5396. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Here is some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. It's the affordable alternative to health insurance, and it's worked beautifully for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry, and over the years, members have shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with MediShare. The typical savings for a family is about $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. You're not stuck with a high-cost health plan. You can join MediShare anytime, so call them today and check it out. Here's the number to find out more, and there's no pressure. They are super easy to talk to. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. It was an amazing day, but it can't compare to the joy I feel every day with my loving wife and 3 beautiful daughters. My football career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. Did you know that over 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year? That includes boys and girls, every age, every type and level of sport. It isn't always clear that a player has had a concussion, so parents, athletes, and coaches need to learn about concussion signs and symptoms. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and not returned until assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports. It's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. That's aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. We hope we helped all of you with your Rush Amnesia this morning with a little bit of Rush Jeopardy. We're taking your phone calls now. 702-257-5396. We had really a hero. He is a hero. 4 times deployed, and now a Congressman, Seth Moulton. He explained to us why he walked out during the State of the Union address. We're taking your calls on that. We're taking your calls on Mitt Romney, your thoughts on the backlash he's received from the right, and, of course, Rush Limbaugh. We're taking your calls on that as well. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396. Let's start off with Brady. Brady, you're first up on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Brady?
Gentlemen, I think I'm going to change your name, Krusty, to Krusty the Magic Libtard. I'm going to write a new song about you.
Well, you know, that's not as bad as Rush Limbaugh, because what Rush Limbaugh did was racist. So let me ask you this question,
Why
Brady.
was it racist, Brian?
Puff the Magic Negro. You don't find any...
Did Rush write that song, Brian?
He played it on his show, and he was
matter.
mocking it.
It's a public radio station. He can put whatever he wants.
It doesn't matter. So if he played a Klan rally, on his show and using the N-word repeatedly, you would be completely okay with that.
If that station allows it, I guess that's okay.
How about what he said about the Chinese president? Who? Are you okay with that when he mocked the Chinese president?
I thought that was funny.
Of course you did. Of course you did, because you're a racist. That's why. Of course you did.
Russian Chinese was excellent. Even the people in Chinatown could understand him.
You know, one thing you'd say about Rush is that he does spread out his racism amongst more than one race.
JD, what was it that he called the NBA? Refresh Brady's memory.
He called it the Thug Basketball Association.
What? You don't think there's some criminals in the NBA over the years?
He didn't say that there were some criminals in the NBA over the course of years. He called it he's taken the entire league, Brady. What, are you defending that comment as well?
Just look at Colin Kaepernick. And then
we're not talking about Colin Kaepernick. We're talking about no. You're not going to play that game. We're talking about Rush Limbaugh. Are you okay with Rush Limbaugh, the comments he made about Michael J. Fox, making fun of his Parkinson's, saying he was acting with the movements? Are you okay? And you're about to say on this program, on this show, KDWN, that you're okay and you find it funny and you have no problem with Rush Limbaugh playing Puff the Magic Negro on his show, mocking Barack Obama. Are you about to say that?
I have no problem because he didn't write the song.
Okay, Brady. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Good luck at your Klan rally today. There we have it yourself, folks. The Grand Wizard himself, Brady. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396. Go to L. L, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, L?
Good morning, guys. What we'll say about those comments, birds of a feather always flock together. But, Brian, could you hear the frustration in Seth Moulton's voice? Now,
absolutely.
Listen to the pain. He's going through what most of us who are just average Americans who love the country, he is totally frustrated with what's going on in the White House. And to think that people who support Trump can't hear this and can't understand what he has changed the White House into. But it's so unfortunate. Judy, can you hear what he's saying and hear what he's...
Oh, yeah. I listening back to that interview, he was losing his train of thought a couple of times. He was very, very frustrated, and he was actually legitimately shocked that there was no witnesses and that you can't have a trial without any evidence or witnesses. I mean, yeah, listening to Seth Moulton was kind of difficult to do because Seth Moulton, again, he is a hero. He has been awarded the Medal of Honor multiple times. So he came from Harvard. He got himself into Harvard. He ran for president. He's still a young guy. He's got a big future in politics, and he definitely loves the country. And he wants our president to be a leader who follows the Constitution. And clearly, he doesn't believe that Donald Trump does that.
So my question for you is, or his policies? Do you still feel though his policies, no matter what he does, if he just burns down the country, the policies he has should.
Well, again, did you listen yesterday?
Well, actually, I was working and I tried to listen in and out, but I'm just.
So Donald Trump Jr. attacked Mitt Romney for simply opposing his father, and I have a giant problem with that. I like what Trump is. And I said that very clearly on the show. I like what Trump has done for the economy. I think he's a good businessman. I think he is good at compromising with foreign leaders. I like a lot of things that he's done. I don't like it when he tweets and when he responds to anyone who attacks him. And I've gone over this before. But when Donald Trump Jr. basically asked for Mitt Romney to be expelled from the Senate and called him, we'll see with the P on social media simply because he opposed his father, to me that is borderline. That's how tyrants start. That's borderline dictatorship, and I have a huge issue with that.
Thanks, Diggy. I love Brian, but thanks for finally seeing the light about.
Well, it's not, and that's not an opinion that I just started to have yesterday. I just when it's unreasonable, I'll call it out. But again, Donald Trump going out of his way to basically ask that the person who opposes his father can't be in a position to oppose his father, to me is a giant problem, and it sets a poor precedent. So, but again, Laura Ingraham,
thank you.
Thank you. But like Laura Ingraham or Tucker Carlson, they're media people. That's what they do. I understand they're going to do that. But Donald Trump Jr., the son of the president, asking for someone who opposes his father to be removed from the position to be able to do that, to me is out of line.
Well, it's absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
It's classless, but what else would you expect from the son of the President of the United States who said...
Well, not those. That. I wouldn't expect that.
Why wouldn't you? Because I'm going to bring something else up. He made the reference of those at Arlington Cemetery who are in the ground, risking their lives for this country, and he made a comparison between that and the risks and what the Trump family has had to go through.
And that was a poor comparison, but what he did...
It's beyond a poor comparison.
Calling out Mitt Romney and requesting that he's removed from his position simply because he opposed his father is, that's stuff that's happened in Eastern Europe. That's stuff that's happened in Italy. You know what I'm talking about.
Of course. And it's amazing to me. The term I want to use is hypocrites. Those on the right that are now going after John Bolton. Those on the right that are recklessly going after Mitt Romney because of his vote the other day. To me, the hypocrisy of it's just unbelievable. It's sad. And now the President of the United States giving the Medal of Freedom to Rush Limbaugh. Giving the Medal of Freedom to a man, and we played a number of racist remarks and horrible things that this man has said over the course of his career. Listen, if the excuse on the right is, well, he's just an entertainer. There's a way that you can entertain people without being a racist scumbag. There's a way that you could entertain people without saying misogynistic comments, saying that women's lives are easier and that's why they live longer. What normal, sane person would make a statement like that? And that is why I've said it this week, and that is why I will say it again. I don't wish death upon anybody. I don't wish diseases upon anybody. But with that being said, I am not going to shed one tear for Rush Limbaugh. With that being said, I am not going to be praying for Rush Limbaugh. While I do feel for his friends and family, because I don't know that his friends and family have ever said anything, the hateful things that Rush Limbaugh has said on a regular basis. I have no sympathy, and I mean no sympathy, for that man himself, because he hasn't shown sympathy for many others, including Michael J. Fox, who had Parkinson's. He did a commercial, and then Rush Limbaugh accused him of acting and being overzealous with his movements. That is a man with no empathy, and I am not going to feel any empathy for a man who has no empathy for others. And I cannot be more clearer than that, ladies and gentlemen. I will not be shedding one tear for Rush Limbaugh. And this is the man that the President of the United States gives the Medal of Freedom Award. It is a disgrace. Mr. President, you are a disgrace. We'll take your phone calls on the other side. 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. Take a quick break. Be back right after this.
President Trump accuses House Speaker Nancy Pelosi of breaking the law when she ripped up her copy of his State of the Union speech.
First of all, it's an official document. You're not allowed. It's illegal what she did. She broke the law. But I haven't been asked a question other than a lot of people that viewed it. They couldn't believe that she did it. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was very disrespectful to the chamber and to the country.
Pelosi says she shredded the speech because the president shredded the truth. Former United Auto Workers senior official Vance Pearson has pleaded guilty to a broad corruption scheme, admitting that he conspired with others to conceal the use of union money for vacation villas, golf, cigars, and liquor. Hiring jumped last month as U.S. employers added 225,000 jobs. 500,000 people re-entered the job market, though not all of them found work, so the unemployment rate is up to 3.6%. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
This is Lorraine Hunt Bono, inviting you to tune in for Breaking Bread with Bono. Join my husband, Dennis Bono, as celebrities share with him their intimate and humorous stories. Saturdays, 5 to 6 p.m., right here on KDON.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete DeRuta. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k.
Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday afternoon at 2 on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Woo-hoo. It's Friday, baby. We got the weekend coming up. Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. He is J.D. Sharp. I am Brian Shapiro. And listen, we should never forget that the President of the United States, of all the people on the planet, he decided to give the Medal of Freedom to Rush Limbaugh, a known racist, a known misogynist, a known homophobe. Why do I say that? Because of the comments he's made on his show that we've played. And we're not taking them out of context, folks. We are taking the actual quotes, and he played a song called Puff the Magic Negro, mocking the President of the United States because he is an African American. Folks, it doesn't get worse than that. And yet there are people like Hugh Hewitt that are saying he can't recall Rush Limbaugh ever saying anything racist.
Well, did Rush ever was he ever called out for these things, and did he ever address and apologize for any things
the only thing that,
just played?
As far as I know, the only thing he ever apologized
was Monday Night Football?
Yeah, was the only thing he ever apologized for, my understanding, is when he called that woman a slut because she wanted, I believe it was contraceptives paid for. And he called her a slut because he said she wants to be paid for having sex. And other than that, I don't recall him ever apologizing for anything. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Tracy. Tracy, you are first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Tracy?
Well, first, I've been listening to you for a few weeks now because I'm trying to be open-minded and listen to, both sides of people's beliefs and feelings. But the more I listen, I just feel like Brian, you're more hypocritical than the people that you're ranting about.
Have I ever said anything racist on this show before?
You know what? It's like you take one big breath and you just blab out a bunch of crap.
All right, no problem. So give me a specific example. Give me a specific example of something hateful that I have said on the show that you think rises to the standards of Rush Limbaugh playing Puff the Magic Negro in response to Barack Obama. Please give me an example.
Wait, I'm not going to get in an argument.
This isn't an argument. This isn't an argument. It's not an argument. I'm hearing you out.
He's asking
Tracy,
you to back up your statement with something.
I'm asking you to give
done.
me one statement. I don't think that's asking too much, Tracy. You said.
It's not about you. It's about.
Of course, it's about me.
Where were your opinions when when Obama issued the Medal of Honor.
Where were you listening? Were you listening to my radio? Hold on a second. I'll answer to that. Were you listening? Okay. Hold on. Let me answer that. Were you listening to my radio show when Barack Obama was president?
No. Actually,
Okay,
I wasn't.
exactly. So you don't know. That's number one. Number two, hold on. What opinion would you like to know about my opinion on Barack Obama? By the way, I'll tell you what. I'll answer your question when you answered mine. You just said, I'm not preaching what I'm saying about Rush Limbaugh. I'm doing the exact same thing. I think that's what you're saying. That's what you accused me of. And in return, I ask you a very specific question. Give me one thing I have ever said on this show that is anywhere near the hate speech and racism and misogynistic and homophobic comments that Rush Limbaugh has said over the course of his career. Please give me one specific example.
Well, I'm going to just tell you, I'm not going to give you a specific
Right, because you don't have one. Because you don't have one, that's why. Because you don't have one. You call into no, let me give you a piece of advice. Potter down. Let me give you a piece of advice. When you accuse somebody of something, you have to have examples to back it up. I learned that in second grade, Tracy. So now I'm going to ask you one more time. One more time, I'm going to give you a chance. You said the hate speech that I do on this show on a regular basis rises to the level of Rush Limbaugh with his racism. So I'm going to ask you for a third time now, and I'm going to give you another opportunity. Can you please give me one specific example of anything I have ever said in my radio career that would rise to the level of the racist, homophobic, misogynistic comments of Rush Limbaugh? Third time. Go ahead, Tracy.
Your typical liberal just...
Okay, goodbye. You see what happens, folks? You see what happens?
Yeah, good call, Tracy. And I think the main issue with Rush, he wasn't the first entertainer to get the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Obviously, Ellen DeGeneres has got it. Barack Obama issued a couple. Tiger Woods has it. But the problem is, Rush Limbaugh was given that, and at least I think that a lot of people's issue is that Rush Limbaugh was given that award during the State of the Union.
Okay, let's go back to Tracy, though. I would like to talk about Tracy. So Tracy called in, and she said, my hate rise to the level of Rush Limbaugh. Okay? I said, can you please give me a specific example? Because we've given a number of specific examples why I would call Rush a racist. She couldn't name it. And then after I asked her for a third time, she knew she couldn't answer a question. She knew she was pinned in a corner. So what did she do? She calls me a liberal. You know why Tracy doesn't like me? Because she doesn't like some of my politics, and she doesn't like some of my opinions on policy. So she calls me a liberal. Well, it's not thinking differently. I don't, JD, I don't mind people that think differently.
She has different beliefs than you.
I don't mind people that, listen, she accused me of doing something that I don't do.
She obviously minds it. You don't mind it, but she minds it that you don't agree with her.
That's okay.
And a lot of our callers are on that same wavelength.
But that's not what she said. She said my hate speech rises to the level of Rush Limbaugh.
Because she feels like you're trying to manipulate her and change her mind.
I will never change a dope's mind. Okay, let's be very clear on that. Number two, I'm not trying to change anybody's mind here. I'm just giving my opinions. But when you say my opinions on Donald Trump rise to the hate speech of Rush Limbaugh, JD, have I ever said anything racist on this show before?
No, not that I can recall.
Misogynistic? Have I ever said anything homophobic?
Misogynistic, maybe a few times.
I disagree.
Homophobic, absolutely not.
She couldn't name one thing. And it boils down to this, and it's very, very simple, folks. When you're pinned in a corner and you make a claim that you can't back up with facts, then you go to the name calling. What did she do after I asked her a third time, can you name me one specific thing I've ever said on this show? Now, we've named dozens of things, and we've played dozens of things that would pin Rush Limbaugh into being a racist, homophobic jerk, okay? That is my point, and that is what's wrong with today's day and age of people that have opinions. When you have an opinion, you need to back it up with something. Clearly, she was unable to do that. That's a perfect example. The number to call is 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 257-5396. I am not going to sit here and defend the President of the United States giving Rush Limbaugh the Medal of Freedom because it is an utterly disgusting and embarrassing moment for this country.
Getting the Medal of Freedom, again, it's happened before for an entertainer. The issue is the fact that it was at the State of the Union. The entire, the country, the State of the Union represents the entire country, and that's Caucasians, African Americans, Asian Americans, Mexican Americans, and Rush Limbaugh has said things on his show or allowed things to be said on his show that could be disrespectful to two of those specific races. And Donald Trump giving him that medal in that platform is disrespectful to those races, in my opinion.
How about Martin Luther King?
Considering what took place. And then you can also look at, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and say that now they're in the same conversation. Or the 100-year-old Tuskegee Airman sitting next to him who didn't get the award. But the award itself It's not the first time it's happened. And if
Right.
Howard Stern got it, he might get it. But the problem is he was given it at the State of the Union speech,
Right.
which is supposed to address the entire country about, us together as a country, all
Right.
races coming together about the state of the country, whether it's economy, healthcare, et cetera, et cetera.
Number to call, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Renee. Renee, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Renee?
Hi, thank you very much for taking my call. Just some feedback. I immensely appreciate that a comment, an accusatory comment like what the last caller made about you could very naturally be frustrating. And I guess the part that I feel like was a missed opportunity for you is that right now nothing's civil in discussion amongst folks who have differing opinions. And I think while it could have been you could have been offended or put off by her comments, the tonality of the discussion changed dramatically. And
Renee, can I just interject real quickly? Please stay on the line. Let me interject with you real quickly here. So here's kind of like my policy, right? When somebody accuses anybody of doing anything, I'm willing to hear them out. I'm willing to listen to them. But I immediately say, okay, no problem. You think I'm this or you think I'm that? Okay. Can you name me something that I have said that would make you believe that? I gave her 3 opportunities to answer the question. As you know, I kept her on the line. I didn't hang up on her. She couldn't give me a reason, and then she just called me a liberal, and that only leads me or any logical person to one conclusion. She didn't have facts to back up her opinion, and if you don't have facts to back up your opinion, I'm not going to keep you on the line.
And I will confirm this. We've been doing this show for about 2 years. We've taken tens of thousands of calls. Brian never overtly attacks a caller. He responds to a caller, what the caller says, and if the caller attacks him or questions him, he does give the caller a chance to say something in response. And if that doesn't happen, then obviously he'll get aggressive.
So, Renee, while I understand what you're saying in a perfect world, you have to understand we have a lot of callers that call into this show, like yourself, and we appreciate you. But, when you accuse somebody of something, and you actually, what she was accusing me, Renee, of, was going up to Rush Limbaugh's standards, a racist, a homophobe, misogynistic. I have a huge problem with that because we played dozens of audio clips that prove my opinion. My point that Rush is a racist. He's a known racist. And if somebody is going to say I'm up to those standards, which is offensive to me because my parents didn't raise me like that, I'm going to, most people would just hang up on you, but I'm going to give that person an opportunity to give an example. She couldn't do it, Renee. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
I completely do, and I concur. I'm inviting you guys to notice the heightened level of energy and the trajectory of the tone of the conversation changed dramatically. And I feel like there are people who, for her to call in and at least go out on a limb to participate in a conversation where most people aren't even participating because it becomes so combative. So I'm just inviting, I just feel like it's a missed opportunity because if you've got...
So how could I have handled that better? How could I have handled that better? She calls me a liberal. How do I handle that better, Renee? How would you have handled that?
I would have lowered your energy level, and I'd invite you to listen to it later as a playback.
So you think if I lowered my energy level, she would have given me a different response?
I think it would have changed. Here's what I think what it would have done is it might have made her more receptive to continue to listen. Right now, my concern is people like her, where maybe there was a glimmer of a moment where if she was open to rethink or revisit. Or
Renee, I hear what you're saying.
Ideas.
Listen, Renee.
He's now going to leave and say, that guy was a dick to me, and I'm not going to. Now he proved my point, which I just feel like is a missed opportunity, and it happens all the time right now in our climate.
Well, I do like this consultation.
Well, Renee, I'll say this. This is me. This is who I am. I'm certainly not fake on the air. I think, and by the way, Renee, I do appreciate the phone call. Thank you. One thing I will say, you could say a lot of things about me, but I am genuine on the air. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. And if somebody accuses me of being a Rush Limbaugh, if somebody accuses me of being racist, misogynistic, by the way, I would never say that about somebody else unless I had examples to back it up. So while I understand where you're coming from and you want me to have a lower tone, you're talking about almost everybody. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, everybody that's on the right almost that does conservative talk has this high energy when they're frustrated about something.
So does Chris Cuomo. So does Don Lemon.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I wouldn't disagree.
Anybody, there's very few low energy people in major media.
And let me give something else to Renee. If you want me to talk like this and be low energy like that, we're not going to have any listeners. 702-257-5.
Hey, but good call, Renee.
This isn't KNPR. This isn't NPR radio. 257-5396. Let's go to Brandon. Brandon, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Brandon, are you there? We lost Brandon. 257-5396. Let's go to Norma. Norma, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, Norma.
Hi, yes. I just wanted to say that I disagree with Tracy and Renee. You handled it perfectly. I have the passion that you have to speak up for what's wrong, especially a racist like whatever Rush, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
So,
but I think calling Rush an overt racist is probably wrong, but it's not unreasonable to think that based on what the bits that we've played and things that he's allowed said on a show and things he said on a show that he could possibly be a racist. But I'm not
possibly.
I'm not going to call him an outright racist.
So you think playing Puff the Magic Negro doesn't make you a racist? Is that what you're saying,
Again,
JD?
I'm not saying that he is an absolute racist. I think that it's not unreasonable to assume that he could be a racist.
Well, no, not could. We disagree. He is. Go ahead, Norma.
Disagree totally. He's a racist. He shouldn't have been honored at the State of the Union, and it just shows what we're up against.
I agree. Norma, I appreciate hearing from you. Thank you for the phone call.
Hey, thanks for the call, Norma.
Yes. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Jim. Jim, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
What's up, Jim?
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I wanted to say that, let me get away from my own radio. I wanted to say that I think Rush Limbaugh did deserve the Medal of Freedom, and it was appropriate for him to get it at the State of the Union.
Why?
Because of the change in the national discourse that he brought about.
What about this national discourse? This was what Rush Limbaugh said about President So Jim, that's Rush Limbaugh talking about the president of China. What do you think about that? Is that a guy that deserves an award?
It doesn't disqualify him from the award, and I think you're also right. It is racist.
So you're saying, Jim, you seem like a smart guy. So let me ask you a question, okay, Jim? You're saying, okay, well, listen, you're calm. Let's have this conversation. You just admitted to me, which I appreciate, that was racist. So you're telling me you're okay, which I appreciate your honesty. So you're telling me that you're okay with the President of the United States giving the Medal of Freedom to a man that says racist things?
My definition of a hero is someone you don't know enough about.
Well, I think we know a lot about Rush.
Okay. I have to overlook a lot of things in my heroes. I have to overlook slavery in Washington and Jefferson. It's heartbreaking, but I have to overlook it. I would rather tell you why I think he deserves the medal.
Maybe a better question.
That's fine. Please tell us that.
But maybe a better question is this: don't you think there would have been better recipients to that award than Rush Limbaugh? Let me rephrase the question like that.
Like the guy sitting next to him.
No.
The guy sitting next to him was a hero who's 100 years old, who served this country for 50 years. You're telling me you think Rush Limbaugh deserves the Medal of Freedom over a man sitting next to him?
Yes, in terms of the significance of his contribution to the country.
What has he done as far as contributions to the country?
He stood... the nation was divided. I can tell you who divided us. It wasn't Rush Limbaugh.
So Rush Limbaugh doesn't divide anybody?
You're saying Barack Obama divided us, right?
No, I'm not saying either Rush Limbaugh or Barack Obama.
So you're saying on the record you think a guy like Rush Limbaugh brings people together from both sides of the aisle?
No, I'm not saying that. But I'm happy to tell you whom I think divided us.
Who?
Me.
Well, you're not getting the award, so
no,
Jim.
well, but let me tell you why I think I divided us.
Okay.
I'm 77 years old. I am a 1960s war protester and leftist.
Okay, well, Jim, I appreciate that you giving us that background, but I'm going to ask you one more time because we do have other callers. Why should Rush Limbaugh deserve the award? What has he done for society for him to deserve the Medal of Freedom award?
Because he dug his heels in and confronted the fault line that I opened up when I said that people who were in favor of the Vietnam War were fascists. I changed the discourse from political controversy to ideological warfare.
All right, Jim, listen, Jim, we're just going to have to respectfully disagree, but I appreciate your phone call. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're next up. What's going on?
What's up,
So
Mike?
I'm not opposed to Rush Limbaugh getting the Medal of Freedom. I wasn't happy that he got it as State of the Union expense. So I've been listening to you, and you're saying that he should not have been awarded the Medal of Freedom.
Absolutely not.
Example of who should have been awarded. Give an example of who would.
The man that was sitting right next to him, who was 100 years old, a man who served in our military for 50 years. 50 years. A man who risked his life for this country. I'll tell you what, I'll even go.
And he risked his life when racial relations were at their worst.
Hold on, Mike. Mike, hang on. I just want. Mike.
I agree with you.
Mike, can I just. Mike, okay, hold on. Mike, hold on a second. I will gladly let you ask your question. I just want to give another local examples, if I may, Mike. There was a horrible car accident at Durango and Desert Inn. I don't know if you recall. 4 people lost their lives. Terrible. 2 people's lives were saved in a burning car when 2 good Samaritans decided to go into that car, pull those kids out of the car. He saved their lives. A man in Las Vegas a couple months ago gave a tip to the FBI that a white supremacist in Las Vegas was going to go into churches or synagogues, kill innocent Jews and innocent people that are homosexuals in bars. Those are the type of people that have saved lives. Rush Limbaugh hasn't saved lives. Okay, Mike, so I just wanted to put that in there. Go ahead.
Sure. No, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. But for conservatives, he has been the voice of conservatives, right? So let me ask you this. Should a screenwriter get the Medal of Freedom?
Who?
Screenwriter.
A screenwriter? Well, it's more than just a screenwriter to get this award. And
I don't know if he's more than a screenwriter. Lorne Michaels.
There are people that have been given this award, like Alex Rodriguez, that I do not agree with.
Tiger Woods.
There are people that have received this award. Rush Limbaugh is not the first person to receive this award that I disagree with, but I think it is one. But I think it is one of the worst people to get this award.
I think same thing with Lorne Michaels.
Right. I agree.
Lorne Michaels does a lot of parody, and they've done some borderline racist things on their show. The issue with the only issue that I believe that a lot of people have with him getting the award again is the fact that it was at the State of the Union.
Right.
The platform in which
do it in a private room.
Yeah,
it was like a reality show, right?
Yeah, is integrating media, and that's what Trump has done. Is he's integrated media into politics, and there's really not much of a disconnect anymore. Where there certainly was a difference between media and politics, and now he's working together with the media, to influence his politics.
257-5396. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bruce?
Oh, hey guys. Hey, I just wanted to add one other thing about the Trump economy. I'm a co-owner of a small local business here in town, and we're a C corporation, and we get taxed as such. We've been in business for 15 years now, and we've always paid tax on, our net profits. The amount of money you pay tax on. The tax rate's always been 15% for profits of less than $50,000. But now, under the Trump tax cuts, we now pay 21%. That's the new corporate rate for all corporations.
Yep.
So, 6% more doesn't seem like a whole lot, but for a small business,
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So, Bruce, I'm so glad you brought that up, because there are many people out there that say, well, the economy's great, but, when you look at the actual statistics, the extreme wealthy are the ones that are benefiting, and it is the middle class and people like yourself that are hurting. Would you agree with that?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Hey, Bruce, how hard did Obamacare make it to insure your workers?
Well, the insurance rates, the premiums, they go up every year.
Right.
That's something definitely that's the insurance premiums are definitely something that the politicians have to do something about.
Well, there's no question.
It's outrageous.
There's no
it's
question.
Absolutely outrageous.
Listen, Bruce, there's no question, but it's people like you that I enjoy hearing from. People like you that are saying that they're actually worse off under the Trump economy.
Bruce, can I ask what space your industry, your business is in?
We are an environmental testing laboratory here in town.
Bruce, I appreciate your phone call, and I appreciate your story, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
Appreciate that. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Paul. Paul, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, listen,
Doing
as
well.
far as the Rush Limbaugh thing, no, I don't think anybody that hasn't done something that's actually heroic should get that award. And I believe, I agree with a lot of his politics, not his opinions.
Right.
But I would say he's done more to divide people than he has to bring them together. Just like the impeachment.
Right.
It's the same thing. You know,
I agree.
What it does is it makes people pick a side, and what Rush does is he preaches one side just to irritate the other side. And
Sure.
so he's done nothing as a hero, and there's a lot of people with cancer. So
absolutely,
you know,
Paul.
you can't give everybody that has cancer an award because
Of course.
this cancer person has plenty of money to treat it.
Paul.
It's like Magic Johnson. You know, he
Right.
had HIV many years ago, and he's
Right.
still healthy because he has the money for the drugs.
Exactly. Paul, you hit the nail right on the head. He's no hero, and there's plenty of other people that could have gotten the award. Paul, appreciate your phone call. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
You know, I'm a liberal, but I'm a Rush fan. So I don't know if Rush is a racist. He's definitely a supremacist, you know, but I don't know if he's a racist. I think we must, you know, bring a difference in the two. And like your caller before me said, I also am a business owner. I have a small business in the medical field. And Affordable Care Act did help our business, you know, because we get now, because of the Affordable Care Act, we get money back from Blue Cross Blue Shield. We get a refund. If our employees don't go over a certain amount of health care costs, we get refunded. It's mandated by the Affordable Care Act.
Correct.
So I think, you know, regardless of about the rates, I mean, the rates do go up. I mean, it's always a constant.
Well, Anthony, let me ask you a question. When we had a female caller about an hour ago who said, "Well, I got a raise. I got a 7% raise, and it's all and it's all because of Donald Trump." And then I asked her a very specific question: what policies has Donald Trump put in place for you to get that 7% raise? And a shocker, she couldn't name it. I find that to be very problematic.
I agree. You know, I think one thing that I got from the Bush is that I was able to give out them because of a loan that, you know, us military people get for businesses. So the government did kind of fund my business from my startup. But I think that, you know, if you ask people, they can't give you anything because it's been there.
Yeah.
Our manufacturing sector now, it's in recession. We did get a gain now, but you know, of jobs. So I think that, you know, it's something I like it. I think if you are an investment person, you have dividends.
Anthony, listen, Anthony, I think we agree a lot more than we disagree, and I appreciate the call. I would say, for one thing, though, I disagree with you on this one. There's no question in my mind Rush Limbaugh's a racist. When you play Puff the Magic Negro on your show, when you talk about the Crips and the Bloods playing against each other in the NFL, when you get fired by ESPN because of your racist remarks, you're a racist. People who make racist remarks on a regular basis, we're not talking about one racist joke in a bar. We're talking about a number of racist things that this man has said over the course of time. All right, so when we take a quick break, we're going to come back. She is a legal prostitute at Sherry's Ranch, and she's going to tell us why sex dolls are taking away from her business. She's coming up next. Rancy Price.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
The only FM news talk station in the Valley. 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
The New Hampshire primary is in 4 days, and Iowa is still trying to straighten out the count from its caucuses last Monday. Correspondent Jeff Zeleny reports candidates who have concerns about vote irregularities have until tomorrow to report them and have until Monday to demand a recanvass.
One of the reasons for the extension is because these precincts, we just hit 100% last night. So they certainly are recognizing the need to give campaigns and candidates a little more time to pore over the records and the numbers.
President Trump says his record of impeachment should be expunged.
Should they expunge the impeachment in the House? They should, because it was a hoax. It was a total political hoax.
But there was no indication the House Democratic majority is inclined to take a step in that direction. Thousands of cruise ship passengers worldwide are being quarantined for at least 14 days after some passengers tested positive for the virus. This woman aboard a ship off the coast of Yokohama, Japan, thinks that she's being placed in unnecessary danger.
This is not a safe environment, and we don't think anybody, let alone the Japanese government, wants to be responsible for making a bad decision about quarantining us in an unsafe place.
Extreme wind gusts, blowing snow, and widespread flooding are making traveling treacherous as the storm system moves into the northeast, leaving rising water and at least 5 deaths in its wake in the south. More than 400,000 lost power after winds gusted up to 60 miles per hour from Virginia into New England. He wrote the baseball classic Boys of Summer. The writer Roger Kahn has died at 92. New York State says it will sue the Trump administration for blocking New Yorkers from using preferred traveler programs. On Wall Street, stocks are down sharply, the Dow off 264. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Circle K. An accident 15 northbound at Charleston has been cleared, but if you're approaching the area, watch for residual slowing that may still be there in the pattern, and an accident reported on Rancho Drive at Decatur. A power outage is affecting an area of Green Valley Parkway at the 215, and that's affecting some traffic signals, some intersections. Please treat those intersections as four-way stops. Yielding to the right, expect delays. At Circle K, every cup of coffee is ground fresh. That means for a mouth-watering, split-second, Circle K coffee is actually, truly the freshest in the world, starting at $1. I'm John Michaels from the K-Dine Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their New Year sale.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Most people think all short-term lenders are the same, and for the most part, they're right. But those people have not discovered how quick, easy, safe, and inexpensive it is to get a signature loan at the DLC. At Dollar Loan Center, you can get a signature loan up to $5,000 in just minutes, and you don't need a checking account or collateral. It's easy to qualify, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. That's different, way different. If you already have a loan at one of those payday companies, we can really help. Give us a call, and we'll show you how much you can save by borrowing from us and paying off your other loans. Spoiler alert, it's a lot of money, sometimes over half. We love to say yes, give credit line increases, and we report your positive history to your credit.
Licensed by the Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet minimum loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10. Here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM, KDON.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right. Hour number 3, baby. It is the Vegas Take. He is JD Sharp, and I am Brian Shapiro. It's been a little while. It's been at least 24 hours since we talked about sex dolls. I know our producer, Jason Stein, is a huge fan. You know, we just had the AVN Expo in town, which is the Adult Entertainment Expo. And there were a lot of booths that were selling this sort of thing. And now it's becoming a problem for legal sex workers in the legal brothels. So neighbors and county officials are concerned now about the existence of this alleged sex doll brothel and sex club. It's operating in central Las Vegas. And this website, Las Vegas Sex Dolls Experience, says on their website that it offers customers the chance to spend time interacting with sex dolls in a private room at an undisclosed hourly rate. Well, apparently this is hurting the economy, and it's hurting people like Roxanne Price, who works at Sherry's Ranch, Chicken Ranch, out there in Pahrump. So we thought we'd get Roxanne on the line and talk to her a little bit about this. Roxanne, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Roxanne, explain to us why this is hurting your business.
My business is fine. Like, I'm not feeling the effects of it. It's just the idea is kind of infuriating. Does that make sense?
Why is it infuriating? Explain that to us.
It's very upsetting because if an idea of a sex doll brothel becomes normalized, that it just doesn't say anything good about sex worker rights or human rights in general. Like, I have to forego weekly STD testing, and I have to purchase a license every 3 months. Like, I have my own business license, all of that. But, an inanimate object doesn't have to do any of those things.
Yes, no LLCs for inanimate objects. So it's not hurting your business yet, but I think what I'm gathering is that you're kind of afraid that it's going to hurt your business down the road.
Once again, I'm not really worried about like having a lack of business or anything like that. I mean, I guess it could be considered competition, but that's not really what I'm worried about. I'm worried more about like an object having more rights than a real life sex worker.
All right. So Roxanne, let me pull back on this a little bit. So as you know, people go to your ranch because they want to have some fun, and for whatever reason, they're allowed to do so. It's legal, and I have no problem with that. So why would you have a problem with a person, whether it's a computer or a sex doll or any type of, or a car, whatever? They want to spend time with a product. This isn't a human being. This is a product in a doll. To me, it's no different than if you buy any type of sex toy. How is this any different? It's a doll. It's not a human being. It's like a robot or whatever you want to call it. If a man or a woman wants to fulfill their sexual pleasures on a doll, I'm just trying to understand why you would be against that.
Yeah, no, that is a great question. So it's the idea of a sex doll brothel in Las Vegas kind of just popping up out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. If people want to purchase their own sex toys, that's fine. That's great. I think that should be encouraged. Sexual health is very important. But the idea of going into a brothel and renting time with a doll just raises a lot of suspicions from like an ethical point of view and also like a legal point of view, health point of view, all of that stuff needs to be looked at.
Well,
if that makes any sense.
It does make sense, but again, I'm trying to take the other side of this because, again, make no mistake about it. I have no problem with what you do. I have no problem with brothels. I'm not sure I'd want to live right next to a brothel, just like I'm not sure I would want to live right next to a sex doll brothel.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
But I have no problem with what you do, and I've always said that prostitution should be legal everywhere. I've said that, but you mentioned the word ethical, and you think it's an ethical issue if a man or a woman walks into a shop and fulfills their sexual pleasures with a sex doll. What about people that would say what you do is not ethical, that a married man could go into a brothel, pay to have sex with a woman, and his wife may never find out about it. Would you call that ethical?
That is a fair question. My main, what upset me about the sex doll brothel is the fact that they've changed their website since, but word for word, they had a quote on there that said, "Our dolls will never say no." So
well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, it is true, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a customer can go in there, do his thing with the sex doll, and there's no idea of consent. And in most cases, a person can separate those two things. They realize it's an inanimate object, but it's just sometimes people abuse that and they get used to thinking a certain way, and it just doesn't do anything good for women's rights.
Right. Well, it totally makes it objectifies women at the highest degree, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It makes it 100% about sex. And so when you have a client, I'm guessing that before sexual relations take place, there's conversations, there's a courting process, but that you don't get that same experience is not required with a doll. Does that concern you?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
I said,
I apologize.
No problem. I said a courting process does not take place. No conversations or whatever happens prior to the actual sexual act. And with a doll, that's just not going to take place.
It can't happen. The doll can't speak. It can't consent. So it's just, in most cases, like I said, the customer will be able to understand, okay, it's a sex toy, right? But in some cases, people might have a warped view or perception on this experience that they're having. They walk into a brothel, they pay a certain rate, the hostess helps them get situated and all that. It's kind of the same idea with like porn consumption. Like most people understand that it's just a fantasy, but there's going to be some people that, it just solidifies their, okay, I can objectify women type thing. So that's kind of like the ethical issue that made me feel like it was just really weird.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, we're speaking with Roxanne Price. She works at Sherry's Ranch. Legal prostitution is one way of putting it, and I've said on this show that I have absolutely no problem with what you do, but I want to ask you a quote from a local newspaper here. You were quoted as saying you are concerned that sex dolls could prove to be stiff competition. Are you now walking back those comments?
No, I think that was more of kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke.
Okay.
Very punny. Very punny.
It is kind of funny. So let me ask you this question. What is if you can share this with us, because I'm just curious, because I am fascinated by what you do. You're obviously an extremely attractive woman. Our producer has done some extenuous research on you, so I can certainly say that.
Yes, very comprehensive research.
You're an extremely attractive woman. How much money would it cost? Are you allowed to talk about how much money would it cost for me to have to get an hour with you? Like, what are the rates? How does that work?
So it's really interesting. The Nevada law regulates legal prostitution in brothels, right? So it is illegal for me to discuss over the phone or on the internet. What's illegal is if I say, okay, I performed a certain sexual act for a certain amount of time for a certain amount of money. So we can only negotiate face-to-face in the brothel.
Why do they do that?
So actually at the brothel, do you approach them with a dinner menu, almost with an a la carte list of the different sexual acts, or how does that conversation take place?
Some people do that. I don't like doing that. It doesn't really work well with my personality. I am more of a kind of like manual.
Well, and your Twitter profile says GFE. What does GFE mean?
The girlfriend experience can be considered all different kinds of things, but it's just, it's like an authentic experience. Like it's still a fantasy, but pretty much me and my customer are just vulnerable with each other. We're just ourselves.
So it's more intimate.
It's more of like a non-rushed encounter where it's very sensual and sweet and all of those things.
How long have you been doing this for?
Since July 2014, and I've been working full-time.
So 6 years. So have you had situations where one of your clients that walk in there, you recognize them as being a celebrity, whether an athlete or an actor? Has that happened to you before?
No, that's never happened to me before, and if it did, I wouldn't talk about it.
So Donald Trump has never walked in there. Is that what you're claiming?
I have never seen Donald Trump walk into a brothel that I work in.
If Donald Trump walks into the brothel, are you a Republican or a Democrat, if you don't mind me asking?
Neither. I
Okay.
think balance is important, and just kind of I sit in the middle. I just want to take good concepts away from both sides.
I agree.
I don't want to choose a team.
I agree, but I have to ask you this: Donald
That's the
Trump.
best way to do it.
Donald Trump walks in there. Will you have a conversation with him, and would you perform sexual acts on him if he actually walked in there and wanted to negotiate with you?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question.
Well, I think.
Well, hold on a second. Let her answer, JD. Let her breathe for a second. She's thinking.
Okay. I wasn't expecting you to ask me that, but that's such an entertaining question that I'll think about it for a second.
Sorry if I put you on the spot. Please think carefully.
Just humor him.
I think that I do not know this person. So I don't want to say like, oh yes, it's all about compatibility. So if this public figure ended up being
Who would you
compatible
think you would be more compatible with, Barack Obama or Donald Trump?
Oh, Jesus. I have no idea.
Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton?
You're having fun with this, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I can't help
He's
myself.
gonna keep going.
Sure. She's pretty hot.
If you keep answering, he's going to keep going.
All right, I apologize. JD, go ahead.
No,
Go
it's
ahead.
okay.
So I have a question.
I don't mind it at all. I think you guys are great and funny.
So considering you do the GFE girlfriend experience, have you ever had a guy come in, you guys, you agree to whatever, and he's just an arrogant prick that you just do not want to deal with, and you've just called it off?
There is such thing as an asshole tax. Am I allowed to say that?
Absolutely.
Is that like a bad word? Okay. But at the same time, if I don't feel comfortable with somebody, I can't do that. So the good thing about the brothels, and most sex work is consensual. Okay. But like here, I'm an independent contractor. I don't have to do anything that I don't want to. So just some people don't know that. It's kind of obvious, but if I don't get along with someone, I probably should not be with them.
So this is not
what I mean?
Of course. So this is not the brothel that Lamar Odom was in years back, correct?
No.
Okay. Because I know it happened in Pahrump, but it's just a different one that is next door to you. Is that accurate?
That happened at Love Ranch South, which is now shut down. The owner of the Bunny Ranch actually passed away in that brothel.
Oh,
So
boy.
that-
Oh, yeah, that's right. Of course, we know that. He was actually running for office, and he's been on this show before. All right, so you've been doing this for 6 years. How do you mind if I ask you your age?
Yeah, I'm 25. I turned 25 in October.
Wow. Okay, so you started doing this when you're 19, and as I've said before, you're an extremely attractive woman. What was that? Sure. What was that conversation like with your family, your parents, the first time you told them that this is what you wanted to do for a living? What was their response?
So that is like a personal question, but I'm an open person, so you're in luck.
Oh, goody.
I kind of just left home without saying anything. It's none of their business. They found out later. They still love me. I'm lucky to have such a loving family. My family is great. I'm from Texas originally, so there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine. I mean, that's just this is such a great opportunity. It's just not, this job is not for everybody.
Sure.
For me,
Well, that's for sure.
personally,
That's for sure.
Personally, it feels sustainable for me. I feel like I can do this in a healthy way, and they know that. And they know that I'm safe. So,
Speaking of safe, Roxanne, do you know if those sex doll brothels require the users to wear protection?
so that's the thing. This is
Why would you
one
wear
of my
protection with a doll? I don't.
who's there to hold them accountable?
You gonna
Like,
have a
for me,
mannequin
we
for a
have
baby?
to.
Like,
Well, I mean, and then if that isn't the case, then there's got to be a very strict, sanitation process after every use.
No, you clean it out yourself.
Yeah, there's
That's
got
what the website said.
I don't even wear condoms with human beings.
Clean
I
it-
certainly wouldn't wear one with a doll.
Clean
I
it
mean,
out.
I'm just
clean,
saying.
Clean it out yourself. that alone is very, very
That's
troubling.
on the website. They did make changes to their website, but I was looking at it a week ago, and I'm like, who is making sure? Because like when I'm with the customer, we have to use condoms for everything here. I'm another human being, like putting on the condom, making sure that it's on.
And by the way, Roxanne, I'm glad that policy is put in place. But again, I have to ask you this question. It might be an uncomfortable one. If somebody walks in there and they're willing to pay you $500,000 and they want to have unprotected sex with you, would you ever consider that?
No, I don't want to make babies.
Well, that's fair. That's fair, especially from a guy that goes
It's
into
illegal.
a brothel. Yeah.
So that could easily just be like a trap.
Yeah.
And
No, that's
it's
understandable.
just, you can't do that. Like, it's illegal. So I mean, I can get fired. Is it really worth it?
Well,
Like,
what if
I
it's,
don't know.
well, I
I've
understand.
never had that happen.
What if it's a 39-year-old bald white Jewish radio host? I'm sorry, that was a horrible joke. I apologize for that one. Yeah, I am. I shave. I'm shaved.
But if you look on YouTube right now, he's wearing a Guy Fieri wig.
That's true. I do wear some weird stuff from time.
But it's gray and white, and it doesn't match his red beard.
So who is the oldest client you think you've ever had in there?
Oh, I have no idea. I really do not keep track of things like that.
But I would imagine there's some elderly people that walk in there. Have you ever felt like you were afraid that the man might have a heart attack in the act?
No, I guess that's not my demographic.
What's your demo? Tell us.
God, hold on. I wasn't.
Do you have a clientele book in there, or how does this work?
No, I'm not that organized. I'm very just go with the flow. You know what I mean? But after years of experience, you kind of get an idea. So I would say 30 to 40s.
Oh, that's good.
That's not. They're definitely. That's not all of the customers. That's just what is the most common, if that makes sense.
Sure. So let me ask you this.
Usually they're just nice guys. What were we going to say? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So you've been doing this for 6 years. You're a good person to ask this question. I have always said that I believe prostitution should be legal for a number of different reasons. First of all, it's a lot safer. It'll take women off the streets that are in danger. It's a lot cleaner. If you're a man picking up a woman on the street illegally, you don't know if she has disease, and she doesn't know if he has disease. It's cleaner.
Yeah.
It's safer. You're probably going to make a lot more money, and you have security there. If somebody walks in there and is drunk or is a threat, they're going to get thrown out. There's so many different reasons, in my opinion, why prostitution should be legal. I said the same thing about marijuana for years, and now the government's getting a piece of that. Do you think in our lifetime, Roxanne, you think the government will legalize prostitution from one side of the country to the other? Do you think we'll see that in our lifetime?
I have no idea, but I hope that in the next 5 years, there's something happening with sex worker rights, because it's really unfortunate. I feel like I'm doing good work here. There's a legitimate skill set. I just can't put it on a resume because it's so heavily stigmatized. So we need to stop stigmatizing it, first of all, because people don't even want to talk about it. I mean, politicians don't want to talk about it. If other
states,
much easier to talk about marijuana or something.
Right.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
If other states were to legalize, would you still stay in Nevada, or would you move somewhere else?
Well, as of now, this is the system that I know. So I have no idea. It would be nice to have other options.
Yep.
That would change everything.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
I want to go where there's the best opportunity for me. I want to also be safe.
Sure.
So
And
that would just change everything. I mean, I haven't even thought about that, but it's a very good question.
Yeah, that would change everything. I agree with you. All right, Roxanne, I have to ask you this as our last question, okay? If you had to pick, I know we started off this conversation talking about sex dolls, but if I put you in a position where you, no pun intended there, if I put you in a position where you had to choose one male sex doll and one female sex doll, who would you want them to look like?
So I always thought it would really be cool to get a copy of myself. Does that sound narcissistic?
You could have sex with yourself. I like that. I like that.
I like me. I like.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. The last person I want to have sex with is myself. I'm just going to be on the record and say that.
You need to work on that, man.
I do. Yes, I do. Trust me. Trust me. Okay, so what about a male though? Is there a man, a celebrity, if someone famous that you're attracted to that you would like to have a sex doll made after?
I know this is not the answer that you're looking for, but
Justin
I
Bieber.
don't have any celebrity crushes. Or maybe you're not looking for any specific answer, but I don't like the idea of.
He was looking for a description of your perfect male partner.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say
pretty cool.
A prototype.
I thought you were going to say Donald Trump.
Sorry to oh yeah, oh yeah.
He's very attractive. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm more about brains. I mean, I want somebody to be fit, right, and pretty to look at, and
Right.
tattoos are really hot. But
Right.
I like a sense of connection. So if it doesn't look like me, then I really don't care.
Fair enough. Well, I tell you what, if it looks like you, I would care because you're extremely beautiful, very attractive,
Thank you,
and
sir.
obviously you're very good at what you do as well. Roxanne, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about this, and hopefully some point down the road, Pahrump is not that far away from our studios, about a 30 to 45 minute drive. We'd love to have you to come in studio with us one of these days. Okay?
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll
Great.
keep in touch.
All right, Roxanne, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Roxanne.
Have a wonderful day, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's Roxanne Price. We started off this conversation talking about sex dolls and how it could hurt the sex industry. People like Roxanne Price. Well, we have a gentleman on the line with us right now. His name is Jim, and he wants to defend people who use sex dolls. Jim, are you there? Are you still on with us, Jim? Did we lose Jim?
Hello, Jim.
Well, on my screen it says defending people who use sex dolls, but I guess Jim is not there. Jim, are you there? Ah, shoot. I really wanted to hear from Jim. That could have been a very interesting phone call. That's sad. I was looking forward to that, but I guess Jim wouldn't want to wait on hold. He didn't want to wait on hold for longer than 5 or 10 minutes because he had a sex doll he had to attend to. So, Jim, we totally understand. We trust me.
Jim, we feel for you. We don't relate to your feeling, but we feel for you.
Well, listen, I have no problem with this sex doll shop. I certainly wouldn't want to live next to it, just like marijuana. I think there should be zoning laws put in place. If a store wants to provide a service, and we're not talking about taking cocaine or doing drugs, if a store wants to, provide a service with their robotic or whatever you would call them, sex dolls.
Automated, Brian.
And
automated.
if it's clean and there is a service that goes in there after a client uses a sex doll, and if it's clean and there's no way of getting a disease or something, then I have absolutely no problem with it.
If it's not clean, it's one of the most disgusting things I've heard in quite some time.
Let me put it this way. I would not want to, first of all, I would not want to use a doll, period, but I certainly wouldn't want to use one after I know someone else just used one. I mean, that's brutal. It's kind of like that thing where, the sex shops, who we just spoke with, Roxanne Price from Sherry's Ranch. She's an extremely attractive woman. There's no doubt about that. Would you want to spend some time with her after a guy walks in there who weighs like 500 pounds, looks like he hasn't taken a shower in a month, spends time with her? No, the answer is no, right? Of course not. Of course not. So I think the same thing applies with these sex dolls in this sex shop. I don't know exactly what's going to happen to this sex shop. My concern is the health hazards of it. You don't want bodily fluids not being cleaned up and stuff like that. It's disgusting.
Clean it out yourself is that kind of.
But what if you have somebody lazy that doesn't? Because I could picture our producer Jason Stein having his way with one of these sex dolls, and then just not doing a half-assed job cleaning it up, and then the guy walks in there and he's on the sex doll, and all of a sudden Jason Stein has left his mark, if you so to speak. That would be a problem. You know what I'm saying? That would be an issue.
I know exactly what you're saying, Brian.
I wonder what the hourly rate is.
I'm not happy that I know what you're saying, but I do know what you're saying.
So I'm estimating an hour with Roxanne would be a lot of money. Be very expensive. I would imagine if you're somebody that cannot afford somebody like Roxanne Price,
then a sex doll makes sense.
You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? So,
probably 20 times less expensive. I'm guessing a sex doll, an hour with a sex doll, I'm guessing it's about $60 an hour.
Kind of like my cleaning lady.
That's my guess.
It's like the same. Actually, yeah. That's actually fairly reasonable. What do you think about that price?
That's a little too reasonable.
It's pretty inexpensive. I don't know. $60 to me sounds like a bargain. Have your way with a sex doll for $60.
It could be 100, but I'm thinking 60, maybe 40, maybe even 40 to 60,
40.
Maybe even like a $49.99 type of situation.
I wonder if they're like if the man or woman, if they're able to watch videos while they're with the sex doll. That's very interesting to me. We'll have to find that out.
I would imagine they have contributing assets that they can use to.
There are definitely contributing assets. I certainly agree with you on that one. All right, he's J.D. Sharp. I'm Brian Shapiro. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Chris Bryant was in town yesterday and had some interesting comments about this cheating scandal involving the Houston Astros. We'll get to that. What did he have to say about it on the Vegas Take? 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
At Benbridge Jeweler, we've learned that one size and shape doesn't fit all. This Valentine's Day, shop the Lisa Bridge collection. Genuine gemstones like sapphire, moonstone, and onyx curated from around the world. With an array of styles starting at just $99, our expert jewelers will quickly help you find something she will cherish all year. Benbridge, love every day.
Benbridge.
Visit us at Fashion Show and Galleria at Sunset and at benbridge.com.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Pressure is building for the Democratic presidential candidates to distinguish themselves in this evening's debate ahead of Tuesday's New Hampshire primary. Senator Amy Klobuchar is hoping for the best.
We only have 2 women now left on the stage, on the debate stage at least, and then we only have 2 Midwesterners, and I happen to be both, and I hope that the people in New Hampshire will see my strength as a candidate.
Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders top the Iowa polling and appear ahead in New Hampshire as well. The Iowa Democratic Party is extending till Monday, a deadline originally set for midday today for the presidential candidates to request a review of the results of this week's Iowa presidential caucuses. Kobe Bryant's widow, Vanessa, says a celebration of life memorial will be held on February 24th at Staples Center to honor her late husband and 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. The Dow down 264. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Circle K. You're going to find a collision, Desert Inn at McLeod. Also a crash slowing things down for you. It's going to be Twain just east of Paradise and Rancho at Decatur. That is also a crash. At Circle K, every cup of coffee is ground fresh. That means for a mouth-watering split second, Circle K coffee is actually truly the freshest in the world, starting at just $1. I'm Ryan Levine, and that's a look at the roads from the KDON Traffic Center.
If you need to sell your house,
talk to Aaron Taylor.
You want to sell it fast and get the most cash, talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy.
Aaron Taylor here, your #1 real estate guy. 2019 was an incredible year, and 2020 will be even better. We have designed a 3-step program to get our sellers the most money possible. Number 1, sellers that want a cash offer, we will provide you several offers from all iBuyer companies, Zillow, OfferPad, Opendoor, and all local investors. Number 2, we will pay and do all repairs with our crew and list your property to get you the highest price. Number 3, for our traditional sellers, we will provide our 25 years of experience along with our exceptional marketing campaign, all to get you the most money possible. And to top it all off, we give a cash advance within 24 hours if needed for all sellers. Call 702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE. eXp Realty, call for details.
talk to Aaron Taylor,
The real estate guy.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro rolling out the red carpet here for our last segment of the week. And we've been talking a lot about Kobe Bryant over the course of the last few weeks. An extremely sad tragedy. Kobe losing his life, his 13-year-old daughter, and 7 others. It's just awful. It's just a horrendous story. It's terrible. And there are some people that are, calling Kobe Bryant a rapist. A principal of a high school. We've had teachers. We've had people caught on video and audio that have been suspended and or fired for the comments they have made about Kobe Bryant, which I think are reprehensible. They're awful because, number one, he's not a rapist. He was never charged with rape. Or never convicted of rape. And he settled out of court to get the story to go away. And he cheated on his wife, which sadly many people in our society do. But Gayle King decided to do an interview with Lisa Leslie. And she's taken a lot of flack for a question she asked Lisa Leslie. Here it is.
It's been said that his legacy is complicated because of a sexual assault charge which was dismissed in 2003, 2004, Is it complicated for you as a woman, as a WNBA player?
It's not complicated for me at all. Even if there's a few times that we've been at a club at the same time. Kobe's not the kind of guy, never been like, Lisa, go get that girl or tell her or send her this. I have other NBA friends that are like that. Kobe's, he was never like that. I just never have ever seen him being the kind of person that would do something to violate a woman or be aggressive in that way. That's just not the person that I know.
But Lisa, you wouldn't see it though. As his friend, you wouldn't see it.
And that's possible. I just don't believe that. And I'm not saying things didn't happen. I just don't believe that things didn't happen with force.
Is it even a fair question to talk about it, considering he's no longer with us and that it was resolved? Or is it really part of his history?
I think that the media should be more respectful. At this time, it's like if you had questions about it, you've had many years to ask him that. I don't think it's something that we should keep hanging over his legacy. I mean, it went to trial.
Yeah, well, it was dismissed because the victim in the case refused to testify, so it was dismissed.
And I think that's how we should leave it.
First of all, I think Lisa Leslie is an extremely intelligent woman. And I believe her answers to those questions were very eloquent, and I agree with what she said 150%. Now the question goes to Gayle King. Should she have brought that up? I don't think what Gayle King did was necessarily wrong, and it's a personal opinion. It's not like, listen, if Gayle King called him a rapist or said something like that, it would be totally over the line. But she didn't do that. She asked fair questions to a former female professional basketball player who's a legend in her own right.
Right.
I don't think what she did was wrong. I think it's personal preference, and I can tell you right now, if I did an interview with Lisa Leslie, I wouldn't bring that stuff up. I certainly wouldn't bring it up. I don't bring it up when I question people about Kobe Bryant.
I loved her answer, though.
Yeah, again, but her answer was great. But we're talking about Gayle King, and should she have asked that? Just because I disagree with her, I don't think she did anything wrong per se, if that makes sense. But there are a lot of people, including Bill Cosby, that is tweeting stuff out behind bars saying what Gayle King said was wrong. That's right. Bill Cosby is a rapist. Make no mistake about it. He is a convicted rapist. I don't want to hear about Bill Cosby talking about Gayle King, number one. Number two, Gayle King has a resume. She's been doing this for a very, very long time. She is now receiving death threats. If you are one of those people that is sending Gayle King a death threat, you are a moron. If you are a Kobe Bryant fan, do you think Kobe Bryant would support you doing that? You dummies. So listen to what Snoop Dogg had to say. This is Snoop Dogg slamming Gayle King over this CBS clip that we just played. Here's Snoop in his own words.
Gayle King, out of pocket for that. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that? I swear to God, we the worst. We the worst. We expect more from you, Gayle. Don't you hang out with Oprah? Why y'all attacking us? We your people. You ain't coming after Harvey Weinstein asking them dumb-ass questions. I get sick of y'all. I want to call you one. Is it okay if I call her one? Funky dog-head bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking homeboy's reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the family and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
All right, well, first of all, Snoop is way out of line.
Completely out of line.
Before we come get you is a threat.
Yeah, talking about us, obviously talking about African Americans.
That's a threat, number one. Number two, to call her the B word is again, way over the line, number two.
Doghead B word.
And number three, just because you're an African American doesn't mean people can't criticize you. Now, I disagree with Gayle King. Hold on. I disagree with Gayle King. I disagree with her bringing that up. It's not something that I would have done. I have a big Kobe fan my whole life.
It is part of Kobe's life, and that's a legitimate question.
You know what? I disagree with you on that.
I have an issue with how CNN?
Yeah.
See how CNN took that and they made it the main focal point to get clicks. I think that Gayle King, in my opinion, has some type of recourse against CNN.
What do you mean? What did CNN do? I don't understand.
Well, the way that they just focused on that particular part of the interview instead of the interview itself with Lisa Leslie, they focused on the fact that...
That wasn't CNN. Gayle King doesn't work for CNN.
I'm
that
sorry.
was okay. You confused me. That's CBS.
Okay, CBS. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know CBS.
Yeah.
I think she has recourse against CBS for taking that small part of the interview.
See, I disagree.
Which again was a question. Do you think that particular situation
let me tell you,
will tarnish his legacy?
JD, let me tell you something. Okay, Gayle, hold on. Let me just explain.
Brian, it was part of his life.
Let me explain.
I mean, that took
hold
place
on,
in his life.
I understand. There's two different parts. What you just said. Let me go to the first one. What? What's wrong? I want to respond to. I want to respond to what you just said.
I'm just taking a drink of water, Brian. It's cool.
JD. Gayle King's a smart lady. She's been doing this a long time, okay? She understands that this is about clicks, like you said. This is about ratings. Gayle King, of all people, should know they're going to take the most provocative clip in an interview, whether she agrees with it or not, and they're going to use it to try to get people to watch the interview. So Gayle King is wrong for going after CBS. They're just doing their job. If she didn't want that brought up, then she shouldn't have brought it up herself. I wouldn't have done it. Now, she didn't call Kobe a rapist. She did say that the charges were dropped, but she also made an assumption because Kobe is acting a certain way around Lisa Leslie. Lisa doesn't know how Kobe acts when she's not there, which I thought was inappropriate. She took it a step further. So while I disagree with Gayle King bringing it up, and I disagree with anybody bringing up that rape case because he's not a convicted rapist, number one, at worst case scenario, and we're talking worst case scenario, he cheated on his wife 17 years ago, which many people sadly do in society.
And the question is, even if that's just the case, will that tarnish his legacy?
If anybody thinks that tarnishes his legacy, in my personal opinion, I can call them B-word. They're a buffoon.
That's okay. But what Snoop Dogg did was completely over the top ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
He basically threatened her life.
And we're going
to come get you.
And he also made it because she's an African American.
Well, exactly.
She should be treated differently than if it was somebody white that was doing the interview.
Which means that African Americans are immune from criticism.
Yeah, which is absurd.
Because just like it would be the same thing if I
I like Snoop Dogg.
Couldn't criticize a Caucasian.
Listen, I grew up with Snoop Dogg. I like Snoop Dogg. I think he's a character. In my personal opinion, he's also not the brightest person in the world. You can see.
I think Snoop Dogg is old news. I think he's trying to make himself relevant again, and that's why people do stuff like
this. Snoop has lived in L.A. his whole... Listen,
I get that.
Snoop lived in L.A. his whole life. He's a huge Lakers fan. He always has been. I think he responded with emotion. I think he was wrong. I think he should apologize to her. Calling her a bitch and calling and threatening her, completely ridiculous. And if you ask me, you take these two scenarios of Gayle King asking those questions and Snoop Dogg's reaction, Snoop is far more at fault than Gayle King. While I don't agree with Gayle King, I also don't agree tremendously with Snoop Dogg threatening a woman because he doesn't like a question that she asks is absurd.
If she is literally getting death threats and someone like Snoop Dogg, who has a major influence, is also threatening her life, I think she has some type of recourse against CBS for painting the picture the way they painted it.
I'd like to tell you what Bill Cosby wrote about this, a known convicted rapist, by the way.
I literally do not have any respect for anything Bill Cosby says.
Of course not, because he's a rapist.
I don't care what he says either.
He said, it's so sad and disappointing that successful black women are being used to tarnish the image and legacy of successful black men, even in death. So he's kind of taking his own story and comparing it to Kobe, which is utterly disgusting because, as we know, Kobe Bryant never raped anybody. He never gave anybody pills and raped somebody. Bill Cosby certainly did.
And not just one person. We're talking 40 or 50 people over the course of 20 years.
Of course.
And by starting a relationship with their family to get closer to them. That's how Bill Cosby did it. Bill Cosby is an absolute predator piece of garbage who hopefully dies in prison. And I don't care about anything he says.
So while Snoop Dogg wants to talk about why aren't black women talking about Harvey Weinstein, which, by the way, many of them are. He's incorrect on that.
Of course he is.
Why aren't people like Snoop Dogg talking about Bill Cosby? 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, 702-257-5396. Your thoughts on Gayle King bringing up the rape case 17 years ago? Now she's getting death threats. You have Snoop Doggy Dogg that is threatening her. And Bill Cosby weighing in behind bars. He also said, in regards to Bill Cosby, he said, are these people that are in need of fame, ratings, and or money? On behalf of myself and my family, thank you and thank you. My heartfelt prayers are with Kobe and his family, as well as with Michael Jackson and his family. May their legacies live on forever.
And you can kind of look at the way that Gayle King phrased that question. It could be, do you think that anyone is stupid enough or that anyone is ridiculous enough to bring up something like that and that it would possibly tarnish his legacy? But no one's thinking about that.
Well, speaking of legacies, what about Bill Cosby's legacy? In my personal opinion, Bill Cosby will not go down as a legend He will not go down as a brilliant comedian. To his grave, Bill Cosby will go down as a rapist.
A calculated, manipulative, sociopathic predator of young women, leveraging his status and his power to get what he wanted from them sexually.
Kobe Bryant is no rapist.
I mean, Bill Cosby is one of the worst human beings in the last century, as far as I'm concerned.
Kobe Bryant, make no mistake about it, is no rapist. And the fact that Bill Cosby wants to comment on Gayle King is, again, disgusting. I believe Snoop Doggy Dogg owes Gayle King a tremendous apology. He was wrong. I understand. Listen, if you want to have that anger towards a teacher that calls Kobe Bryant a rapist, if you want to have that anger towards a principal that says he deserved to die, I have no problem with that.
Fine.
While I don't, but even then, I don't condone threats. But if you want to call them the B word or so, I have no problem with that, because that's what I would call somebody who thinks that Kobe Bryant deserved to die, and his 13-year-old daughter and the 7 others on that chopper. But Bill Cosby, last person I want to hear from. 702-257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Rick. Rick, what's going on? What do you make of all this?
Hey, what's up, Rick?
Yeah, Brian and JG. I have a hard time saying about anybody being a rapist when a lot of these women that come after you and they come on you knowing you're rich and you got money. And I've seen it happen so many times in my experience. You know, I'm 82 years old, and I've heard of this happening to a lot of celebrities. You know, they come on, they try to, you know, they're good.
No, Rick, listen, Rick.
And that's actually a pretty decent point. I think that there's a chance that is what happened with Kobe Bryant, and they had some consensual sex.
But Rick, listen. I understand what you're saying, and let me just be very clear, Rick, and I think you'll agree with me on this. While rape is a horrendous crime, just as bad, in my opinion, as a woman that makes it up. To me, that's just as bad of a crime. However, I hope you would agree with me, Rick. The evidence is overwhelming, and that's why Bill Cosby is behind bars. He's a rapist. I mean, you'll admit that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Rick.
I think you were referencing Kobe Bryant, not Bill Cosby, right, Rick?
Yeah, Kobe Bryant, who I was talking about. I think the girl came on to him, and it's hard to turn down a good-looking girl. And so what happens? They have sex, and then the girl, feeling guilty, tries to get out of it by calling rape.
Rick, make no mistake about it. That woman was after money. The Kobe Bryant situation, and I wish she never got $1. She's disgusting, as far as I'm concerned. The evidence was overwhelming that it was not forceful sex, it was not rape, and this woman was after money. Rick, I couldn't agree with you more, my friend. Thank you so much.
Good call, Rick.
With that being said, you know, it's the women that make some of this stuff up hurt the actual real victims that are raped. You know, because it hurts their credibility.
Yeah,
a woman should never be scared to come forward.
Turns into the girl who cried wolf.
A woman should never be afraid to come forward. But there's no doubt in this Kobe Bryant case, anybody who calls him a rapist is not only ignorant, but it's also extremely hurtful. This is 2 weeks now, not even 2 weeks, after this legend, this great man, lost his life along with his daughter and 7 others. For anybody to call him a rapist, whether that be on social media, a principal, a teacher, it is beyond irresponsible and it is disgraceful. How would they like it if a member of their family died and we said they deserved it? They deserved to die. I would never say that. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Marge. Marge, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What do you think of this?
Hey, what's up, Marge?
I think it's a very sad situation. I've had my own personal conversations with other people, you know, about it, and they're all just adamant, oh, he's a racist. Well, I think this was the only one so far that we know of that occurred with his name involved. You know, I read somewhat of the encounter with them where I think she went to his room. So that's suspect. There was another article where he discussed the situation with his priest, and his priest even said, you know, lay it aside. God does not give you anything you can't handle. So it almost seemed like his own priest was very understanding of the situation and wasn't even labeling him. And I think this whole thing with Carol, I mean, I agree with you. What Snoopy Dogg said about Carol is just, it's awful.
It's disgusting.
It is a threat, you know.
Yeah.
And for anybody else who's in jail because of situations like this, and a number of people have come forward, I mean, what right should they have to even comment about?
You couldn't be right. And Marge, I wanted to mention, you brought up Kobe and his faith and his church, and we've now learning that an hour before Kobe lost his life, he actually spent some time
was at church.
in his church with his daughter and actually had a brief interaction with the priest there. The priest talked about how he would always sit way in back because he didn't want to be a distraction to what was going on, and just a testament to Kobe. You know, he was there an hour before he lost his life.
Right.
Yeah.
And he basically, I mean, the priest confirmed that when he could, he attended weekly mass.
Yeah.
So he was very devoted to his faith. I don't see how someone who's got that in them could go off doing anything like this. That's so horrendous.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Marge, 100%. Good to hear from you. Thank you for the phone call.
No, and it's very questionable when a woman willingly enters a men's room, a hotel room, you know, at 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock at night. Very questionable.
It sickens me that this woman who accused Kobe Bryant of rape is out there with boatloads of Kobe's money. It makes me sick to my stomach because she didn't deserve it. 702-257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Pete. Pete, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Pete?
Hey, guys. Nice to hear you guys. Listen, the Gayle King thing, I've been in this business 38 years. I got the voice, you can tell. I do not like Oprah. I've never liked Gayle. I think she's a BFF on the heels. But I totally, 100% stand beside Gayle King. 100%.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah.
Absolutely. We got to, man. It's the business. Now, the Democrats and all this, well, first of all, the Trump disaster that we've seen for 3 years of just picking this guy's family and him apart, they're eating their own now. And I'm sitting in the front row with popcorn and butter, man. I'm loving it.
Well,
let them eat their own.
Well, Pete,
same with the Snoop Dogg, this clown. He lives here. He's among us.
Yeah, well, he does, but they certainly give us material to talk about on the show every day, Pete. We appreciate the phone.
Absolutely, that's why we do it.
That's right.
Ryan, I think you're a diehard Trump supporter.
Well, you're definitely wrong about that, Pete. What would make you think that?
So.
What would
I don't think so. It's all about the money.
No, it's
gotta
not.
make the money. It's like Doug Basham.
No.
The guy should be a millionaire.
Pete, hold on a second. I'm going to be completely honest with you right now, Pete. I appreciate your opinion, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. Never have I ever said anything on this show for ratings or for listeners. I only talk about, and you should know this, I'm very passionate.
Yeah. I know, I hear you,
listen,
man, but you gotta stick with it. You wake up and you go, that's a great point. Let's throw it at them and see what we can get. It's like fishing.
I understand, Pete. I'm just being honest with you, and I'll say it again. And by the way, I do appreciate your thoughts, and I appreciate the phone call. I believe Donald Trump is a complete scumbag. He's a horrible human being. And I am not going to support a horrible human being, even if I do agree with some of his policies. I don't agree with many of them. We're talking about Kobe Bryant. We're talking about Gayle King. The comments that Gayle King, or the question she brought up with Lisa Leslie. She's now getting death threats. We played the Snoop Dogg audio. What do you think? 257-5396. Let's go to Valerie. Valerie, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, Valerie.
Yes, Snoop Dogg was deeply, deeply insulted because he had Kobe Bryant on a pedestal as his idol, and we are firmly warned in the scriptures to put no man on a throne. That's where God is to be. So when he was insulted, his rage came out, and it looks like there was threats to Gayle.
There was.
So we just have to be careful.
Yep.
And put no celebrity. That includes politicians. That includes sports figures and people in the musical realm. We do not place them up on a pedestal because every person is just human, and they all fall short.
So you're backing Gayle King then?
No, I'm not. I didn't hear the whole thing, but yes, to bring up a past offense that occurred where no one really knows what happened in that hotel room. But, he hasn't been buried yet, and it's very insensitive, any comments that Gayle made. But I'm not perfectly clear on everything that.
Well, let me ask you. I understand. Let me ask you something, Valerie. So you mentioned the scriptures. I'm pretty sure in the scriptures it mentions something about not threatening somebody. Snoop Dogg threatened Gayle King. I'm sure you don't agree with that.
Snoop Dogg is human like everybody else. He's a celebrity.
Well, we're all human, but it does.
And he also had a platform to speak.
I understand.
He had a platform
We're all
so
human.
that millions would hear his comments.
Valerie, we're all human, but just because you're a celebrity, it doesn't give you the right to threaten somebody.
He didn't have a right to do it. He spoke out of turn. He was
right.
wrong.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call, Valerie. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
call, Valerie.
702-257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to RJ. RJ, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, RJ.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Going
What do you
good.
What do you think about this?
I'm actually calling in to, I guess, support Snoop Dogg and what he was saying. I don't particularly feel that he threatened Gail. I think what he meant by saying "we'll come get you," I think that was just in terms of blacks in celebrity who can bash her, who can turn the ranks on her show.
All right,
like
RJ, fair enough.
He was physically threatening her.
RJ, let's just say you're right, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that, which I'm not sure that's true. But let's just say for hypothetical reasons, you're right. I don't agree with what Gayle King did in bringing it up. Right? I wouldn't bring it up myself. With that being said, she didn't call him a rapist. She asked Lisa Leslie, does this hurt his legacy? Which I don't think is the worst question in the world to ask. Yes, I think it's probably too soon to ask that question. Yes, I don't think I would have done it. But is it really that horrible for her to be interviewing Lisa Leslie, who's probably arguably one of the most famous female players to ever play the game? She was one of Kobe's.
Absolutely. I feel that the fact that she is an African American woman as well as Kobe and Snoop, and that community itself is being bogged down by the R. Kelly rape scandals, the Bill Cosby deal, and it's not being publicized about the Harvey Weinsteins and the major players in society itself. So when you look at a sports figure like Kobe, who of course didn't rape anyone, but he did commit something. He did do something wrong. He cheated on his wife.
Right, which
And,
many people
that's
do.
not right at all.
Right.
But the fact that Gail would bring that up when there was no criminal offense there at all
Right.
is not only distasteful, it's sort of a slap in the face of your own people, who are going through, a really sensitive time with these type of cases.
All right.
That's why I feel that Stu was kind of upset about that.
Okay.
Rightfully so. But I don't
Let me.
feel that
Can
he
I
threatened
just say
her
this?
life or anything.
Okay. Well, I hope not. Let me just say this, RJ. For the people that actually call Kobe Bryant a rapist, for the principal at a school, we covered this story, that said he deserved to die. I want that hatred towards them more than Gayle King. Does that make sense?
That makes 100% sense, and I do agree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, at the time, he might have been speaking, out of just pure emotion.
I understand, and I said that.
things.
And I said that. I think it was emotion. And RJ, by the way, I do appreciate your phone call, and I appreciate your opinion. We do know that Snoop Dogg has been a lifelong, diehard Laker fan. Let's take one more call. Let's go to
Good call, RJ.
Travis. Travis, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
What's up, Travis?
Hey, what's happening, gentlemen? So, first of all, I want to just ask, do you think you pay someone $23 million to settle out of court if you didn't do it?
Here's what I do think happened. I do believe that he obviously had sex with her. He admitted to that. I do believe it was one of those things where Kobe Bryant wanted the story to go away because it was an embarrassment towards him. She obviously demanded money, or she was going to testify. He didn't want that to happen. He's a man at that time that was still worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't think if you pay somebody $23 million, that means you're admitting that you're a rapist. I think it means that you want the story to go away.
Because you're protecting, he made, I think, $20 million a year in endorsements. He he probably had another 25 or 30 million in salary. It probably saved him it probably put $250 to $300 million in his pocket, considering that his career went 13 years past 2003. And there was DNA involved that did prove that yes, they had sex that he claims was consensual.
And
so
he also,
I think you do pay that amount of money. It seems like a lot of money to you, but to him, it really isn't that much.
And Travis, I also say this: you could make the argument that if he allowed her to testify and let this thing go on, he could have lost more than $23 million when you just go to sponsorships
and his family.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right,
Sure.
Travis.
Okay.
Travis, I
Can
appreciate
ask
it.
you one more thing?
Quickly, we only got about 30 seconds.
Okay, so best case scenario is he had
Cheated on his wife.
Right.
Yes.
cheated on his wife. So what's the difference between that and Stormy Daniels with Donald Trump? How you bash
Okay, let me
Trump?
answer that. We only got about 30 seconds. Let me answer that. First of all, the difference is Donald Trump was running for president of the United States. The difference is he made that payment a week before the elections. That is possibly breaking campaign finance
But
violations.
when did they actually have sex, though?
It doesn't matter when it happened. It matters when he actually made the payment, the non-disclosure agreement. Donald Trump was going to be president of the United States or running. Kobe Bryant was a basketball player.
I
at
would
the time.
say the difference is the fact that Melania Trump was pregnant and Vanessa was not.
All right. Well, we'll have to continue this conversation on Monday. We got a lot of other things to get to on Monday. We got to take a weekend break. We'll be back at you Monday, bright and early 9 a.m. Appreciate all the phone calls. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will catch you on Monday.
I've had blue fern Amazon parrots and